Did you know that Ash Lake's primordial landscape predates even the first flame, making it one of the few unchanged remnants of the Age of Ancients? Hidden beneath the cursed land of Lordran, buried under layers of earth and forgotten history, lies a place where time itself seems to have stopped, where colossal archtrees rise from an endless expanse of water and ash, their branches disappearing into a grey void that might as well be eternity. This is not merely another location in the world of Dark Souls, not just another area to explore and conquer, but rather a window into something far more profound and unsettling. The world as it existed before the concepts of life and death, light and dark, heat and cold, ever came into being. Ash Lake stands as a living fossil, a breathing contradiction to everything the Age of Fire represents. And its very existence poses questions that shake the foundations of the entire Dark Souls mythology. What does it mean that this place survived the cataclysmic war that reshaped reality itself? Why do the archtrees still stand when their kind was supposedly eradicated from existence? What ancient power preserves this sanctuary from the natural decay that consumes everything else in this dying world? The answers to these questions reach far beyond simple geography or level design. They touch upon the deepest mysteries of the Dark Souls universe, the nature of the First Flame, the true cost of the war against the everlasting dragons, and the cyclical prison that traps gods and humans alike. Ash Lake is not simply a place you can visit, it is evidence, proof that the history you have been told is incomplete at best and deliberately obscured at worst. The lords who claimed dominion over the world, who built their kingdoms on the corpses of dragons and the power of the First Flame, they could not reach this place, or perhaps they chose not to, and that choice, that failure, that gap in their conquest tells a story all its own. Every element of Ash Lake, from the hydra that guards its shores to the ancient covenant hidden within, from the mushroom creatures that wander its beaches to the dragon that waits at the world's end, speaks to a time before ambition, before betrayal, before the curse of undeath that now plagues humanity. This is a place where the rules are different, where the logic of the surface world breaks down, where you can walk among giants and touch the pillars that once held up the entire sky. The journey to reach Ash Lake is itself a descent through layers of deception, smashing through illusory walls in the already nightmarish depths of Blighttown, dropping down through a hollow tree that should not exist, emerging finally onto shores that predate civilization itself. It is a pilgrimage backwards through time, a reversal of progress, and what you find there challenges everything the game has taught you about the nature of this world. The archtrees of Ash Lake are not merely large trees, they are the original architecture of reality, the organic infrastructure upon which the grey, formless world of the ancients was built, and their scale defies human comprehension in a way that even the grandest castles and cathedrals of the gods cannot match. Standing on those ashen shores, looking out across the infinite water, seeing tree after tree after tree stretching into the distance until they fade into the mist, you begin to understand just how small the Age of Fire really is, how recent, how temporary, how fragile. The gods built their kingdoms on a foundation they did not create and could not destroy, and Ash Lake is the reminder of that fundamental truth, the evidence that no matter how bright the first flame burned, no matter how complete their victory seemed, there were places and powers that existed before them and will exist after them. This is not the story of a hidden area or a secret boss. This is the story of what the world was, what it became, and what it might return to when the fire finally fades for good. The lore of Ash Lake intersects with the deepest questions of Dark Souls, the origin of the archtrees and their relationship to the everlasting dragons, the nature of the stone scales that granted immortality, the purpose of the ancient covenant of the everlasting dragon and its promise to transcend the cycle of fire and dark, the meaning of the Hydra's presence in both Ash Lake and Darkroot Basin, the connection between these primordial depths and the painted world, the significance of the mushroom creatures who seem to exist outside the normal flow of time, and above all, the question of why this place was preserved when everything else from the Age of Ancients was supposedly destroyed. The existence of Ash Lake suggests that the war against the dragons was not as total as history claims, that the lords did not conquer everything, that there were limits to their power even at the height of their strength. It suggests that the Age of Ancients did not truly end, but merely retreated, went underground, waited in the depths while the surface world burned and built and crumbled and burned again. The archtrees are patient in a way that no living thing can be, patient in the way that only eternal things understand, and their patience has been rewarded because they have outlasted kingdoms, outlasted dynasties, outlasted the very gods who thought themselves immortal. When you finally make the journey down to Ash Lake, when you walk those grey shores and hear nothing but the lap of water and the distant rumble of something vast and old, you are walking in a place that Gwyn himself might have seen, that the Witch of Izalith might have known, that existed before any of the lords claimed their souls from the first flame. This is not speculation or theory. This is what the game shows you, what it places before your eyes if you are willing to look beyond the immediate challenges of survival and combat. Ash Lake is a statement, a declaration that the world of Dark Souls is deeper and older and stranger than the narrative of Fire and Dark would have you believe. It is a crack in the official history, a glimpse behind the curtain, and what you see there changes everything. The fact that this area is entirely optional, that most players will never find it, that you can complete the entire game without ever knowing it exists, makes its presence even more significant because it means the truth is hidden, buried, locked away behind false walls and deadly drops, accessible only to those who refuse to accept the surface as the whole story. The developers placed this revelation in the depths for a reason, made it difficult to reach for a reason, and that reason is thematic as much as mechanical because the truth about the Age of Ancients, the truth about what came before the fire, is not something the lords want you to know. Ash Lake is heresy made geography. It is the physical proof that the Age of Fire is not eternal, not inevitable, not the natural state of the world, but rather an interruption. And before the first flame ignited, before the concept of time itself had meaning, the world existed in a state so fundamentally different from what we know today that it challenges our very understanding of existence. This was the Age of Ancients, the primordial era, a period that stretched across eons without measure or end. To comprehend this age is to imagine a reality stripped of every quality that defines our experience. There was no warmth, no cold, no growth, no decay. The world simply was, and it remained unchanged for what might have been eternity. The landscape of this ancient world consisted of an endless grey expanse, a monochromatic realm where the very notion of colour held no meaning. Fog hung perpetually in the air, neither thick nor thin, neither rising nor falling. It simply existed as part of the fundamental fabric of reality. The ground beneath was not soil as we understand it, but rather an indeterminate substance, solid yet somehow formless, grey like everything else in this timeless domain. Above, there was no sky in the traditional sense, no sun to mark the passage of days, no stars to guide travelers through the night. Instead, the same grey fog extended upward into infinity, creating a world without horizons, without boundaries, without any sense of direction or purpose. Dominating this primordial landscape were the archtrees, colossal structures that defied simple categorization as either living or non-living. These were not trees in any conventional sense. They were pillars of the world itself, vast beyond comprehension, their trunks wider than castles, their heights extending so far into the grey expanse above that their upper reaches vanished into the eternal mist. The bark of these archtrees was pale, almost white, yet tinged with the same grey that permeated everything else. It possessed a texture unlike any wood found in later ages, something between stone and organic matter, hard as rock, yet somehow suggesting the structure of living tissue. These archtrees formed interconnected forests that stretched endlessly across the land, creating a network of titanic columns that served as the very skeleton of the world. The roots of these archtrees were perhaps even more remarkable than their visible portions. They extended deep into the earth, plunging down through layers of stone and primordial matter, spreading outward in vast networks that intertwined with the roots of neighboring trees. These root systems were so extensive, so thoroughly integrated into the structure of the world, that they effectively became indistinguishable from the foundation of reality itself. The archtrees did not simply grow in the world, they were the world, their roots forming the bedrock upon which all else rested. In the spaces between these massive roots, caverns and chambers formed naturally, creating vast underground networks that would, in later ages, become the deep places of the earth. But in the Age of Ancients, these spaces held nothing but more grey fog, more unchanging stillness. Among the surviving fragments of this ancient era, one location stands as perhaps the most significant testament to what once was. Ash Lake, as it would later be named, represents a primordial place that somehow endured through the cataclysms that would eventually reshape the world. Deep beneath what would become Lordran, far below the foundations of kingdoms yet to be built, Ash Lake preserves the essence of the Age of Ancients. Here, the archtrees still stand as they did in that primordial time, their roots extending into dark waters that lap gently against shores of pale sand. The fog that hangs over Ash Lake is the same fog that once covered the entire world, and the quality of light, or rather the quality of greyness, remains unchanged from that ancient era. To stand in Ash Lake is to step backward through time itself, to experience firsthand the nature of existence before the first flame brought change to the world. But the archtrees, magnificent as they were, did not rule this ancient world. That distinction belonged to the dragons, and chief among them was the everlasting dragon, an immortal being whose very existence embodied the unchanging nature of the age. The dragons of this era were not creatures in the sense that later beings would understand the term. They were manifestations of the world's fundamental nature, extensions of the same eternal, unchanging principle that governed all existence. Their forms were vast and terrible, yet somehow appropriate to the scale of the archtrees among which they dwelt. Wings that could blot out entire sections of the grey sky, bodies larger than fortresses, necks that could reach from one archtree to another. These were the physical characteristics of the ancient dragons. What truly set these beings apart, what made them everlasting, was the nature of their scales. The stone scales that covered every inch of their bodies were not mere armor, not simple protection against harm. These scales were something far more fundamental. They were manifestations of the unchanging nature of the world itself, pieces of eternity made physical. The scales possessed a quality that went beyond simple invulnerability. They existed outside the concepts of damage and repair, of harm and healing, because such concepts required change, and change did not exist in the Age of Ancients. A dragon's stone scales could not be broken, because breaking implied a transition from one state to another, and such transitions were foreign to the nature of reality itself. This was not magic, not some spell or enchantment that granted protection. It was simply the way things were, as fundamental and unchangeable as the archtrees themselves. The everlasting dragon, the greatest of its kind, resided in the heart of the archtree forests, surrounded by its kin in a gathering that might have been called a court if such political concepts had existed. But there was no hierarchy among the dragons, no chain of command or structure of authority. The everlasting dragon was not a ruler in any traditional sense, but rather the purest embodiment of dragonkind, the most perfect expression of their unchanging nature. Other dragons gathered around it not out of loyalty or fear, but because its presence represented the concentrated essence of what they all were. To be near the everlasting dragon was to be at the center of the world's eternal stability. Among the dragons, certain beings were known as stone dragons, a designation that might seem redundant given that all dragons possessed stone scales. but which actually indicated something more specific about their nature. The stone dragons were those who most perfectly embodied the unchanging quality of the age. While all dragons were everlasting, the stone dragons were those who had achieved a state of such perfect stillness that they became nearly indistinguishable from the archtrees themselves or from the stone of the earth. Some stone dragons would remain in a single position for what might have been centuries or millennia or longer, though such measurements of time were meaningless in an age without change. They did not sleep, for sleep implies a cycle of waking and resting, a change of state. They simply existed in a state of eternal awareness, conscious but without thought, present but without action. The rule of the dragons over this ancient world was absolute, yet to call it rule almost misrepresents the nature of their dominance. There were no subjects to govern, no territories to control, no rivals to defeat. The dragon's authority was not maintained through force or fear, but simply existed as a fundamental fact of reality. They were the apex of existence, not because they had fought their way to that position, but because there was nothing else that could challenge them, nothing else that could even conceive of challenging them. In a world without disparity, without the concepts of strong and weak, the dragons nevertheless represented the ultimate expression of being. The world during this age was devoid of humanoid life entirely. No humans walked beneath the archtrees, no giants carved out territories, no gods schemed and plotted. The very concepts that would give rise to such beings did not exist. Life and death, as we understand them, were absent from the world. The dragons were not alive in the sense that later creatures would be alive. They did not eat, did not reproduce, did not grow or age. They simply were, and they remained, unchanging and eternal. The archtrees, similarly, did not grow or die. They stood as they had always stood, as they would always stand, pillars of an eternal present. In this world without fire, the state of existence was one of perpetual stasis. Fire, as would later become clear, was the source of disparity, the origin of change itself. Without it, the world existed in perfect equilibrium, every element balanced against every other, nothing rising, nothing falling. The temperature of the world, if such a thing could be measured, remained constant. The grey fog neither warmed nor cooled. The stone of the earth neither heated nor froze. Everything existed at the same unchanging state, a condition that was neither comfortable nor uncomfortable because such subjective experiences required a consciousness capable of perceiving change and difference. Rising from the endless grey expanse stood the grey crag, a mountain of stone so massive that it dwarfed even the mightiest of the archtrees. This towering peak served as a symbol of the dragon's dominance, though symbol is perhaps too intentional a word for what was simply another manifestation of the age's unchanging nature. The grey crag was not built, not raised up through volcanic action or tectonic forces, because such processes implied change and motion. It simply existed, had always existed, a mountain of pure stone that reached up into the grey infinity above. Dragons nested among its peaks and in the caves that riddled its bulk. Though nesting implies a purpose, a preparation for offspring, and the dragons did not reproduce. Rather, they occupied these spaces as they occupied all spaces, simply being present without intention or goal. The everlasting dragon and its kin were worshipped, though this worship came not from other beings offering devotion, but from the world itself acknowledging their nature. They were embodiments of eternity, living, if that word can be applied, representations of the concept of forever. In their stone scales, in their unchanging forms, in their eternal presence, the dragons manifested the fundamental principle that governed all existence in the Age of Ancients. They were not gods, for gods imply beings with will and purpose and power over specific domains. The dragons were something more primal, more fundamental. They were the age made flesh, or rather, made stone. The bark of the archtrees possesses a quality that sets them apart from any form of plant life that would come to exist in later ages. This bark is impervious to decay, immune to the natural processes of rot and degradation that would eventually govern all organic matter after the advent of the first flame. The surface of each arch tree remains eternally smooth and unmarred, showing no signs of weathering despite the passage of countless unmeasured eons. This imperviousness is not merely a physical characteristic, but a fundamental expression of the Age of Ancients itself. In a world where nothing changes, nothing can deteriorate. The concept of decay requires the passage of time in a meaningful sense, the progression from one state to another, and such progression simply does not exist in this primordial era. The bark stands as a living monument, though even the word living feels inadequate to the unchanging nature of existence before disparity. When you examine the fragments of arch tree bark that persist in later ages, particularly those found in the deepest reaches of Ash Lake, you find that this quality endures even after the world has been transformed. The bark resists fire, refuses to splinter under force, and maintains its integrity across millennia. This durability is not the result of any enchantment or magical property, as such concepts would later be understood, but rather an intrinsic quality of matter that existed before change itself was born. Deep within the network of arch trees, in a location that would later be known through whispered legends and fragmentary accounts, lies the lair of the everlasting dragon. This sanctuary represents perhaps the purest expression of the Age of Ancients' essential character. It is a place of absolute silence and stillness, a chamber or clearing where even the faint movements of air seem to cease. The everlasting dragon, the most perfect embodiment of the stone dragon's nature, dwells here in a state of eternal repose. The lair itself is untouched by time in the most literal sense. No dust accumulates on the stone surfaces, no moisture condenses in the air, no sound echoes through the space. The dragon rests here, neither sleeping nor waking, for such distinctions require change and awareness of change. The sanctuary is not hidden in the sense of being concealed or protected, for there is nothing in this age from which it would need protection. Rather, it simply exists in its appointed place, as permanent and immovable as the arch trees themselves. The location of this lair would become significant in ages to come, when seekers of ancient wisdom and those who wish to transcend the cycle of life and death would journey to find it, hoping to learn the secrets of the dragon's immortality. The stone scales that cover the bodies of the everlasting dragons are not merely armor or protective covering. These scales are forged, though not by any conscious hand or deliberate process, from the very essence of the arch trees themselves. The relationship between dragon and tree runs deeper than mere cohabitation of the same world. The arch trees draw their substance from the grey crags and the primordial stone of the world's foundation, and the dragons in turn are manifestations of that same fundamental matter. Their scales possess the same quality of imperviousness as the arch tree bark, the same resistance to change and decay. Each scale is a perfect geometric form, interlocking with its neighbours in patterns that never shift or require adjustment. The dragons are, in a very real sense, extensions of the land itself, mobile expressions of the same eternal stone that forms the foundation of the world. This connection explains why the dragons are so perfectly suited to their environment, why they require no sustenance, no rest, no purpose beyond existence. They are the land given form and awareness, though even awareness is perhaps too strong a word for the dim, unchanging consciousness that resides within their ancient minds. When you encounter the stone scales in later ages, whether as treasures guarded jealously by their dragon bearers or as relics scattered across the world, you are handling fragments of the Age of Ancients itself, pieces of a time when matter and being were one and the same. Among the grey crags that rise from the primordial waters, one location holds particular significance in the cosmology of the Age of Ancients. The grey crag, distinguished from its countless siblings by this singular designation, is said to be the birthplace of the everlasting dragon. Whether this means the location where the everlasting dragon first came into being, if such a moment can be said to exist in an age without beginning, or whether it represents some deeper symbolic significance, remains a matter of interpretation. What is certain is that the grey crag radiates a power that sets it apart from other formations. This power is not magical in the sense that later ages would understand magic, not the result of souls or flame or any force that operates through change and transformation. Instead, it is a concentration of the fundamental stability that defines the era. The stone here is denser, more absolute in its permanence. The fog that surrounds it seems thicker, more resistant to any hypothetical disturbance. The grey crag serves as an anchor point, a location where the unchanging nature of the world is most perfectly expressed. In later ages, when scholars and seekers attempt to understand the age of ancients, they often point to the grey crag as the key to comprehending how existence functioned before disparity. To stand upon the grey crag, they theorize, would be to experience a fraction of that eternal stasis, to feel the weight of a world where nothing ever was or will be different from what it is in the eternal now. Beneath the visible surface of the world, below the grey crags and the primordial waters, the roots of the archtrees extend downward into depths that defy measurement. These roots do not merely grow in parallel, each tree maintaining its own separate foundation. Instead, they intertwine and merge, forming a vast and unbroken network that connects every archtree to every other. This subterranean lattice is perhaps the most profound expression of the interconnected nature of the Age of Ancients. The roots twist around and through each other, fusing at points of contact, creating a single continuous structure that spans the entire world. This network serves no apparent purpose, for purpose implies goal and intention, concepts foreign to this era. Yet its existence has profound implications for understanding the nature of the age. The archtrees are not individual entities, but aspects of a single unified whole. The world itself, in this primordial time, is one vast organism, though again the word organism suggests qualities of life and growth that do not truly apply. The root network ensures that stability is not merely local, but global, that the unchanging nature of one location is reinforced by and reinforces the unchanging nature of all others. When the first flame eventually appears and begins to introduce disparity into the world, this network will become both a source of resistance to change and a means by which change, once begun, can propagate throughout existence. But in the Age of Ancients, it serves only to deepen and strengthen the eternal grey stasis. The presence of the everlasting dragon itself radiates a quality that affects the entire world, though effect is perhaps too active a word for what is essentially a passive emanation. This presence reinforces the era's stasis, serving as a kind of metaphysical anchor that holds the world in its unchanging state. The dragon does not actively maintain the age through any effort or will. Rather, its very existence, its perfect embodiment of immortality and permanence, creates a kind of conceptual gravity that prevents change from taking hold. Where the everlasting dragon dwells, the fog seems greyer, the stone seems more eternal, the silence seems more absolute. This effect is not limited to the dragon's immediate vicinity, but extends outward through the root network, through the stone of the grey crags, through the very substance of the world. Every stone dragon contributes to this effect to some degree, but the everlasting dragon, as the most perfect exemplar of dragonkind, generates it most powerfully. In later ages, those who seek to understand or recreate the conditions of the Age of Ancients will focus on this quality, attempting to capture or replicate the everlasting dragon's essence. The path of the dragon, a covenant that would emerge in the Age of Fire, represents one such attempt, offering seekers the chance to transform themselves into dragons and thereby escape the cycle of life and death that the first flame introduced. But no transformation, no matter how complete, can truly recreate what the everlasting dragon is. For that dragon is not merely a creature, but a fundamental principle of existence made manifest. The stone dragons, those countless beings that populate the archtrees and the grey crags, are revered in a sense that transcends worship or religious devotion, as later ages would understand such concepts. They are seen, insofar as anything can be seen or understood in an age without observers, as guardians of the archtrees. This guardianship is not an active role requiring vigilance or intervention. The dragons do not patrol or watch for threats, for there are no threats from which the archtrees need protection. Instead, their guardianship is existential. By being what they are, by embodying the same eternal, unchanging nature as the trees themselves, they ensure that the archtrees remain inviolate. The presence of the stone dragons and the presence of the archtrees are mutually reinforcing, each making the other more perfectly what it is. When you consider the relationship between dragon and tree, you must understand it not as a symbiosis in the biological sense, but as a unity of essence. The dragons are not separate beings that happen to live among the trees. They are expressions of the same fundamental reality that produces the trees, different manifestations of the same underlying permanence. This relationship will become tragically significant when the Age of Fire begins and the lords wage their war against the dragons. To destroy the dragons is, in a very real sense, to destroy the foundation of the world as it existed in the Age of Ancients, to sever the connection between the land and its immortal guardians. At the peak of the Grey Crag, where the stone rises highest above the primordial waters, a thick mist perpetually shrouds the summit. This mist is denser than the fog that covers the rest of the world, so thick that it becomes almost tangible, almost solid. The shrouded peak serves as a symbol of the world's unchanging fog, a concentrated expression of the grey veil that separates everything from everything else. To ascend the Grey Crag, were such ascension possible or meaningful in this age, would be to climb into ever-thickening obscurity, to move from the merely unclear into the absolutely unknowable. The peak exists, but cannot be truly reached or perceived, much like the nature of the Age of Ancients itself. This quality of the Grey Crag's summit will echo through later ages in various forms. The mists that surround certain locations of power, the fog gates that bar entry to significant encounters, the obscuring clouds that hide truth from mortal perception, all these can be traced back conceptually to the shrouded peak of the Grey Crag. The mist here is not water vapor in the conventional sense, but something more fundamental, a manifestation of the essential unknowability and unchangeability of the primordial world. It represents the limits of perception and understanding, the boundary beyond which even the concept of knowing breaks down. The scales of the everlasting dragon possess a quality that sets them apart even from the already remarkable scales of the lesser stone dragons. These scales are said to be truly indestructible, not merely resistant to damage, but absolutely immune to any form of harm or alteration. They embody the era's immortality in its most concentrated form. Each scale is a perfect, eternal object, unchanging and unchangeable. The scales do not overlap or interlock like armor, but form a continuous surface, as if the dragon's body were carved from a single piece of primordial stone. This indestructibility is not a defensive property, for there is nothing in the Age of Ancients against which defense is needed. Rather, it is an expression of what the dragon is, a physical manifestation of the principle of eternal permanence. When the Age of Fire comes and the lords make war upon the dragons, they will find that conventional weapons and even the power of the flame itself cannot pierce these scales directly. Only by exploiting the one weakness that the dragons possess, a weakness introduced by the very existence of disparity, will the dragons become vulnerable. But in the Age of Ancients, the everlasting dragon's scales represent an absolute barrier, not against attack, but against the very concept of change itself. They are the dragon's essence made visible, the immortality of the age given physical form. The leaves of the archtrees, those massive structures that form the canopy far above the grey crags, never fall. In later ages, the falling of leaves will mark the passage of seasons, the cycle of growth and decay that governs all plant life. But in the Age of Ancients, the leaves remain perpetually attached to their branches, as unchanging as the bark and the roots. This perpetual attachment maintains the world's eternal greyness, for the leaves themselves are grey, neither green with life nor brown with death. They simply are, suspended in a state that precedes such distinctions. The canopy formed by these unfalling leaves creates a kind of ceiling over portions of the world, though the fog is so thick that this ceiling is rarely visible from below. The leaves do not photosynthesize, for there is no sun to provide energy, and no need for the trees to grow or maintain themselves. They exist as part of the complete, perfect, and finished structure of the archtrees, no more likely to fall than the branches themselves are likely to bend, or the trunk to sway. When you encounter archtree leaves in later ages, you find that they retain this quality of permanence, remaining intact and unchanged, even when separated from their parent tree. They serve as reminders of a time when nothing ever changed, when the very concept of falling, of descent from one state to another, had no meaning. The rule of the dragons over the Age of Ancients is marked by an absolute absence of conflict. This is not peace in the sense that later ages would understand the term, for peace implies the possibility of war, the choice not to fight. Instead, it is a more fundamental absence of opposition. There are no opposing forces in the Age of Ancients, no competing interests, no alternative visions of how the world should be. The dragons do not rule through strength or authority, but through simple existence. They are the world's dominant beings, not because they have conquered or subjugated others, but because there are no others to dominate. The hollows that drift through the fog are not subjects or servants, but simply other aspects of the same unchanging reality. There is no hierarchy, no structure of power, no system of governance. The dragons simply are, and their being is sufficient. This absence of conflict is so complete that the very concepts of ally and enemy, friend and foe, have no referent in reality. Everything exists in a state of neutral coexistence, not because of any deliberate choice toward harmony, but because the conditions that would make conflict possible simply do not exist. When the first flame appears and introduces disparity, it will shatter this fundamental unity, creating the possibility of difference and therefore of disagreement, of competing desires and conflicting wills. The war that follows will be the first war, not merely the first in a sequence, but the introduction of the very concept of war into a world that had never known opposition. The lair of the everlasting dragon becomes, in the understanding of later ages, a place of pilgrimage for those who seek eternity. Though such pilgrimage is impossible during the Age of Ancients itself, when the age gives way to fire and death enters the world, certain individuals will dedicate themselves to finding the dragon's sanctuary. These seekers hope to learn the secret of the dragon's immortality, to discover how beings can exist without change or death. The pilgrimage is arduous, requiring descent through layers of the world, through Lordran or Drangleic or Lothric, down past the foundations of civilization, past the tomb of the giants or the Black Gulch, past even the demon ruins and the lava lakes, down to Ash Lake where the last archtrees stand. There, if the seeker persists and proves worthy, they may find the path to the everlasting dragon's lair. The dragon, in later ages, offers these pilgrims a covenant, a pact that allows them to begin transforming into dragons themselves. This transformation is gradual and incomplete, for true dragonhood belongs to the Age of Ancients and cannot be fully recreated in the Age of Fire. But even a partial transformation offers a measure of the immortality that the dragons possessed, a resistance to death and change that sets the transformed apart from ordinary beings. The pilgrimage thus represents an attempt to reverse the flow of time, to reclaim something of what was lost when the first flame burned and the Age of Ancients ended. The very existence of the stone dragons serves as a testament to the unchanging nature of the Age of Ancients. They are living proof, though living is again imprecise, of what existence was like before disparity. In later ages, when the world has been transformed by fire and death, When kingdoms rise and fall, and the cycle of light and dark turns endlessly, the stone dragons that survive will seem like impossible anachronisms, beings that should not be able to exist in a world governed by change. Yet they persist, hidden in the deepest places, protected by their stone scales and their essential nature. These surviving dragons serve as witnesses to the primordial age, as connections to a time that most beings in the Age of Fire cannot even properly conceive. They remind the world that things were not always as they are, that the cycle of life and death, the struggle between light and dark, the rise and fall of kingdoms and lords, all these are recent developments in the vast span of existence. Before all of this, there was only grey, only stone, only the eternal, unchanging presence of the dragons and the archtrees. The stone dragon's existence poses a challenge to the order established by the lords. For if immortality was possible once, might it be possible again? If the world existed without death, without disparity, without the flame, might it return to that state? These questions will haunt the Ages of Fire, driving some to seek the dragon's wisdom and others to hunt the dragons to extinction, to eliminate these reminders of a different way of being. The Age of Ancients, for all its timeless stillness, could not last forever. At some unknowable moment, in a place beyond the reach of the grey fog and the archtrees, something unprecedented occurred. The first flame ignited. This was not a gradual warming or a slow kindling, but a spontaneous eruption of heat and light that tore through the unchanging fabric of reality itself. The dawn of fire had arrived, and with it came the end of eternity. The first flame was unlike anything that had existed before. Where the Age of Ancients knew only uniformity, the flame brought disparity. Light and dark, concepts that had no meaning in the grey world, suddenly sprang into being as opposing forces. Life, which had been static and unchanging in the dragons, became something dynamic, something that could grow and flourish. And with life came its inevitable counterpart, death, the cessation of existence that the everlasting dragons had never known. These four fundamental concepts, light, dark, life, and death, emerged from the flame as the building blocks of a new reality, one defined not by sameness, but by difference, by contrast, by the space between things. The flame did not burn alone in the darkness. Within its depths, within the very heart of its power, there formed something extraordinary. Souls. Not the pale, flickering things that would later animate the hollows, but great souls. Concentrations of power so immense that they could reshape the world itself. Four beings, drawn to the flame by forces we can only speculate about, discovered these souls and claimed them as their own. The first was Gwyn, who would come to be known as the Lord of Sunlight. In the flame, Gwyn found the light soul, a blazing core of radiance and power that filled him with strength beyond measure. This was not merely illumination, but the very concept of light made manifest, a force that could pierce the grey fog and reveal what had always been hidden. With this soul, Gwyn became something more than whatever he had been before. He became a god, or at least what the world would come to understand as divine. The second was a being who would be remembered as the Witch of Izalith. She discovered within the flame the life soul, the essence of vitality and growth, of fire and creation. Where Gwyn's soul was about revelation and dominance, hers was about transformation and generation. The life soul gave her mastery over flame itself, the ability to coax it into new forms, to use it as a tool of change. She was not alone in her discovery. She had daughters, beings born of or bound to her power, who shared in her gift and would become known as the Daughters of Chaos, practitioners of fire sorceries that could reshape the very substance of the world. The third was Gravlord Nito, the first of the dead. In the flame, Nito claimed the death soul, the dark mirror of the witch's life. If she embodied creation and growth, he embodied ending and decay. The death soul granted him dominion over mortality itself, over the processes of rot and disease that would now plague all living things. Nito became a figure of terror, a towering amalgamation of bone and darkness, wreathed in miasma and accompanied by the very concept of death made physical. Where he walked, life withered. Where he gestured, disease spread. He was the inevitable end that now awaited all things. The fourth soul, however, took a different path. The dark soul, the shadow cast by Gwyn's light, was claimed by a being so unremarkable, so easily overlooked, that history would barely remember their name. The furtive pygmy, as this figure came to be known, was small and seemingly insignificant compared to the towering might of Gwyn, the transformative power of the witch, or the dread authority of Nito. Yet the dark soul they claimed was no less potent than the others. It was simply different in nature, quieter, more subtle, and infinitely more patient. The furtive pygmy did something that none of the other lords did. Rather than hoarding their great soul, rather than using it to elevate themselves alone, the pygmy divided it. They broke the dark soul into countless fragments and distributed these pieces among the hollows, those empty, shambling beings that had existed in the margins of the Age of Ancients. Each fragment was small, almost imperceptible, but each one carried a spark of the dark soul's essence. These fragments became known as humanity, the dark sprite that would define an entire species. The hollows who received these fragments became human, or at least the ancestors of humanity, beings capable of thought and feeling, of ambition and despair, of all the qualities that disparity made possible. This act of division was profound in ways that would echo through all the ages to come. While Gwyn, the witch, and Nito used their souls to make themselves mighty, the pygmy used theirs to create a people. Humanity, born from the dark soul, carried within it a piece of that original power, dormant but present in every human being. This would have consequences that none could foresee, least of all the lords who were now rising to challenge the old order. The emergence of the first flame and the claiming of the great souls marked the beginning of the end for the Age of Ancients. Disparity, once introduced, could not be contained. The grey fog that had shrouded the world began to thin as light pushed it back. The unchanging nature of the dragon's realm started to fracture as life and death introduced the possibility of change. The archtrees, which had stood for eternity, now existed in a world where time had meaning, where things could begin and end. The everlasting dragons, for all their might and their stone scales, had no answer to disparity. They were creatures of the age before difference, beings who existed in a state of perpetual sameness. They did not die because death did not exist. They did not grow because growth implied change. They simply were, and had always been, and expected always to be. But the first flame had introduced a new paradigm, one in which their eternal nature was no longer an unassailable fact, but merely a condition that could be challenged. Gwyn, the Witch of Izalith, and Nito, now possessed of their great souls, looked upon the world the dragons ruled and saw opportunity. They had power now, genuine power, the kind that could reshape reality. But the dragons still dominated the world above, still commanded the archtrees and the grey expanses. If the lords were to truly claim the world that the first flame had made possible, the dragons would have to fall. This was not a decision made lightly or quickly. The dragons were not mere beasts to be hunted. They were the architects of the previous age, beings whose stone scales made them nearly impervious to harm, whose very existence seemed to defy the new laws of life and death. To challenge them was to risk everything. But the lords were not alone. They had followers, beings who had been drawn to the power of the great souls, who saw in Gwyn and his allies the promise of a new world. Armies began to form. Alliances were forged. The lords gathered their strength and prepared for a war unlike any the world had ever seen, because the world had never known war before. The lords understood that they could not defeat the dragons through conventional means. The stone scales that covered the dragons' bodies were more than mere armor. They were a manifestation of the dragon's connection to the Age of Ancients, a physical embodiment of their eternal, unchanging nature. Weapons would shatter against those scales. Fire, at least ordinary fire, would wash over them without effect. The lords needed an advantage, something that could pierce the dragon's defenses and make them vulnerable to the death that Nito now commanded. The advantage came from an unexpected source. Seth, the Scaleless, a dragon unlike any other, approached Gwyn with an offer. Seth was born without scales, a defect that left him vulnerable in ways his kin could never understand. While other dragons were eternal and invulnerable, Seth was mortal, or at least more mortal than they. This difference bred in him a consuming jealousy, a bitter resentment toward his own kind. He had spent ages studying, searching for a way to obtain the immortality that had been denied him by his scaleless birth. In his research, he had learned much about the nature of dragon scales, about their strengths, and, crucially, about their weaknesses. Seth's betrayal of his own kind was motivated by this jealousy, but also by pragmatism. He saw which way the winds were blowing. The first flame had changed the world, and the dragons, for all their might, were creatures of the old world. Gwyn and his allies represented the future, and Seth wanted a place in that future. In exchange for his knowledge and his allegiance, Gwyn promised Seth what he most desired, a dukedom, a place of honor among the new order, and, most importantly, the opportunity to continue his research into the nature of immortality. Seth revealed to Gwyn the dragon's greatest weakness. The stone scales, for all their durability, were vulnerable to a specific force, lightning. This was not the lightning of storms, which barely existed in the grey world of the Age of Ancients, but something more primal, more direct. Lightning was pure energy, a manifestation of power that could bypass the scale's physical toughness and strike at the dragon's very essence. Armed with this knowledge, Gwyn set about harnessing lightning as a weapon. Gwyn's mastery of lightning became legendary. Using the power of his light soul, he forged bolts of lightning that could be hurled like spears, that could be called down from the sky, that could be wielded by his warriors. These lightning weapons were devastating against the dragons. When a bolt struck a dragon's scales, the stone that had seemed eternal would crack and shatter, falling away to reveal the vulnerable flesh beneath. For the first time, the everlasting dragons could be wounded. For the first time, they could die. But Gwyn's lightning was only one weapon in the Lord's arsenal. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of chaos brought their own terrible power to bear. They wielded fire sorceries, spells that transformed flame into a tool of destruction, far beyond anything the world had seen. These were not the simple fires that might burn wood or flesh, but fires that could consume stone, that could reduce the mighty archtrees to ash. The witch and her daughters turned their sorceries against the dragon's domain, setting the archtrees ablaze, filling the air with smoke and heat. The grey fog that had defined the Age of Ancients was burned away, replaced by the choking black smoke of burning wood and the orange glow of flames. The archtrees, those colossal pillars that had supported the world above, began to fall. Some burned slowly, their immense trunks resisting the flames for days or weeks before finally collapsing. Others were consumed quickly, their wood proving less resistant to the witch's sorceries. As the trees fell, so too did the platforms and structures built upon them. The dragon's domain, which had seemed so solid and eternal, was revealed to be as vulnerable to fire as anything else. Nito, meanwhile, brought his own form of devastation. The first of the dead unleashed a miasma of death and disease, a creeping rot that spread across the battlefield. This miasma was more than mere poison. It was death itself made tangible, a force that caused flesh to decay, bones to crumble, and life to wither. Dragons who had never known sickness found themselves weakened by plagues that had no cure. Their followers, the lesser creatures who served them, died in droves, their bodies adding to the growing piles of corpses that Nito commanded. The miasma clung to the dragon's scales, seeping into the cracks that Gwyn's lightning had created, hastening their demise. The combination of these three forces, lightning, fire, and death, proved overwhelming. The dragons, stripped of their scales by Gwyn's bolts, burned by the witch's flames, and weakened by Nito's miasma, fell one by one. The war was long and brutal, a conflict that reshaped the very geography of the world. Mountains were leveled, valleys were scorched. The archtrees that had defined the landscape for eternity were reduced to stumps and ash. The grey fog was burned away entirely, replaced by clear air through which Gwyn's light could shine unobstructed. The culmination of the war saw the near-total extinction of the everlasting dragons. Those who were not killed outright fled to the far corners of the world, hiding in places where the Lord's power could not easily reach. The Age of Ancients, which had lasted for time immeasurable, came to an end not with a whimper, but with fire and lightning and death. The dragon's dominance was broken, their realm destroyed, their eternal nature proven to be anything but. Meanwhile, the furtive pygmy and their progeny, the early humans, bearers of the enigmatic dark soul, scattered into the shadows, their significance yet unrecognized by the burgeoning powers of the Age of Fire. Unlike the grand declarations of Gwyn or the Witch of Izalith, the pygmies' discovery was a quiet, almost clandestine affair, a flickering ember in the vast darkness. They did not seek to conquer or rule, but simply to exist, multiplying in the unseen corners of the world. Their very nature, tied to the antithesis of the first flame, made them an anomaly, a potential threat to the established order that Gwyn would eventually come to fear. This fear, a creeping dread, born from the understanding of the first flame's eventual fading, began to gnaw at Gwyn. He recognized the inherent impermanence of his golden age, the cyclical nature of existence that the dragons had so stoically embodied. As such, Gwyn, fearing the encroaching dark, the very essence of humanity that he could not fully comprehend or control, began to suppress humanity, linking the fate of the Age of Fire to his own power. This suppression was not always overt warfare, though that would come later. Initially, it manifested as a systematic marginalization, a subtle but pervasive conditioning of human society to revere the gods and their light, to fear the encroaching darkness within themselves. Gwyn established institutions, propagated myths, and fostered a culture that celebrated the sun and condemned the shadows. He sought to bind humanity's destiny to the flame, believing that by controlling their perception and their inherent potential, he could stave off the inevitable. This policy laid the groundwork for the later linking of the fire, a ritual that would become central to the fate of Lordran and the entire world. He saw the dark soul not as a complementary force, but as a corrosive one, a threat to the stability he had so painstakingly built. This fear and the actions it spurred would have profound and lasting consequences, shaping the very fabric of the world and the struggles of its inhabitants for millennia to come. The seeds of conflict between gods and men were sown not in open battle, but in the subtle manipulations of power and the deep-seated anxieties of a king facing the inevitable. Driven by a similar, though perhaps more desperate, desire to prolong the Age of Fire, the Witch of Izalith, a powerful sorceress and one of the original lords, attempted to recreate the first flame using her life soul. Her motivation was not born of fear in the same way as Gwyn's, but rather a profound attachment to the existing order, a desire to prevent the fading of the light that had brought such prosperity and magic to her city. Izalith, a place of vibrant pyromancy and arcane arts, thrived under the warmth of the first flame. The witch, a master of fire and life, believed she possessed the knowledge and power to replicate the very source of their existence. She envisioned a controlled, eternal flame, a testament to her mastery and a safeguard against the encroaching cold. Her daughters, the Daughters of Chaos, equally skilled in pyromancy and fiercely loyal, assisted her in this monumental undertaking. They poured their collective knowledge and their own fragments of the life soul into the grand ritual, a desperate gamble to defy the natural order of things. The experiment, however, went catastrophically wrong. The immense power of the life soul, when channeled to mimic the very genesis of disparity, proved uncontrollable. Instead of a new first flame, a controlled and stable source of light, a monstrous perversion of life and fire erupted. The witch and her daughters, caught in the heart of this cataclysm, were transformed into grotesque, fiery beings, their forms twisted and their minds warped by the raw, untamed power. The witch herself became the bed of chaos, a pulsating, tree-like abomination, the source of all demons, forever bound to its agonizing existence. Her daughters, once beautiful and powerful sorceresses, became the demons of Izalith, their bodies racked by fire and their sanity shattered. The very essence of their being, once dedicated to life and fire, was now a conduit for destruction and chaos. The once proud city of Izalith, a beacon of magical prowess, was engulfed in this inferno, its magnificent structures melting and reforming into the hellish landscape of the demon ruins. The chaos flame erupted, a raw, uncontrolled torrent of primordial fire, corrupting Izalith and spawning the race of demons, a twisted mockery of life. These creatures, born from the uncontrolled power of the life soul and the witch's failed ambition, were not merely fire-infused beasts. They were beings of pure, destructive chaos, their forms ranging from hulking, horned brutes like the Asylum Demon to winged, agile fiends like the Batwing Demons. Each demon was a testament to the horrific power unleashed, a living embodiment of the witch's hubris. The very air around Izalith became thick with ash and brimstone, the ground seared and cracked, and the once vibrant flora and fauna mutated into grotesque parodies of their former selves. This cataclysm was not a localized event. The tendrils of the chaos flame reached far beyond the city's borders, impacting the surrounding lands and casting a pall of fear over the entire world. The birth of the demons was a stark reminder of the dangers of tampering with primordial forces, a lesson learned at a terrible cost. These newly spawned demons, driven by an instinctual urge to spread their chaotic influence, began to spill out of Izalith, threatening the stability of the new age and forcing Gwyn to take action. Their destructive nature and sheer numbers posed an immediate and existential threat to Lordran. They ravaged settlements, incinerated forests, and instilled terror in the hearts of mortals and gods alike. The Age of Fire, which Gwyn had so carefully cultivated, was now under siege from within, not by the fading of the flame, but by its uncontrolled, chaotic manifestation. This was a crisis of monumental proportions, demanding an immediate and decisive response from the Lord of Cinder. Gwyn, ever the protector of his kingdom and his age, could not allow this uncontrolled force to dismantle everything he had built. He understood that if the demons were allowed to spread unchecked, the very foundation of his reign would crumble, and the fragile peace he had established would be shattered. In response to this grave threat, Gwyn marshaled his forces, sending his elite Silver Knights and his trusted Black Knights to contain the demonic outbreak. These were the finest warriors in Lordran, clad in gleaming armor and wielding formidable weapons, symbols of Gwyn's power and resolve. The Silver Knights, renowned for their discipline and unwavering loyalty, formed the bulk of the offensive, marching into the fiery depths of Izalith with unwavering courage. Alongside them were the Black Knights, Gwyn's personal guard, formidable warriors who had fought by his side in the war against the dragons. They were tasked with the most dangerous assignments, pushing deeper into the inferno where the most powerful demons resided. Their mission was clear: push back the tide of chaos, contain the demonic threat, and prevent its spread beyond the ruined city. This was a desperate struggle, a clash between the ordered light of Gwyn's kingdom and the raw, untamed chaos of the demons. However, the sheer power and destructive nature of the Chaos Flame proved overwhelming. Many of Gwyn's brave knights, despite their unwavering courage and skill, were consumed by the inferno. The heat was unimaginable, the air thick with toxic fumes, and the demons, born of the flame itself, seemed impervious to conventional attacks. The Silver Knights, though valiant, found themselves outmatched by the sheer numbers and ferocity of the demonic hordes. The Black Knights, pushing deeper into the heart of the conflagration, faced the most powerful of the demons, including the transformed Daughters of Chaos. The battle was a brutal, protracted affair, a testament to the horrific power unleashed by the witch's failed experiment. The casualties were immense, a devastating blow to Gwyn's military might, and a stark reminder of the limits of his power. The once proud ranks of his elite warriors were decimated, their sacrifices etched into the very stones of the demon ruins. The most enduring symbol of this failed campaign is the fate of the Black Knights. Their armor, once gleaming and pristine, was scorched black by the relentless heat of the Chaos Flame, marking their failed campaign. This transformation was not merely cosmetic. The intense heat fused their armor to their very flesh, leaving them as hollow, perpetually burning husks, forever bound to the inferno that had claimed their lives. They became spectral figures, their forms wreathed in embers, their weapons still imbued with the lingering heat of the Chaos Flame. These Black Knights, though defeated, continued to haunt the ruined landscapes of Lordran, a grim reminder of the war and the terrifying power of the demons. Their very existence served as a chilling testament to the devastating consequences of the witch's hubris and the immense sacrifices made to contain the ensuing chaos. They were a living, or rather unliving, monument to a battle that could not be fully won, a perpetual scar on the face of Gwyn's golden age. The catastrophic events in Izalith, coupled with the slow, inevitable fading of the first flame, forced a grim realization upon Gwyn. He understood with a chilling clarity that the Age of Fire was finite, a temporary reprieve from the eternal darkness. The war against the demons had shown him the limits of his power and the destructive potential of uncontrolled primordial forces. He could not indefinitely sustain the flame through conventional means, nor could he prevent the eventual return of the deep dark. The cycle of fire and dark, a fundamental truth of the world, was asserting itself. This understanding, born from the crucible of war and the fading embers of his own power, led Gwyn to make a momentous and ultimately self-sacrificing decision. He began to make plans to sacrifice himself to prolong the Age of Fire, to rekindle the dying embers with his own divine essence. This act, known as the linking of the fire, would become the central tenet of his legacy and the driving force behind the cycles of fire and dark that would define the future of Lordran and beyond. He would become the first Lord of Cinder, forever bound to the flame, setting the stage for the coming cycles of fire and dark, a desperate gamble to defy the inevitable and extend his golden age, even if it meant his own eternal torment. This sacrifice, however, would only delay the inevitable, creating a cyclical struggle that would forever shape the destiny of humanity and the very fabric of the world. And so, as the Age of Ancients drew to its inevitable close, a new era, fraught with both promise and peril, began to dawn. This pivotal shift, occurring during the early Age of Fire, marked the genesis of a conflict that would forever reshape the very fabric of the world. The war against the dragons. With the sudden manifestation of the first flame, a cataclysmic event that shattered the primordial stasis, true disparity was born into a world previously devoid of such concepts. From the heart of this nascent fire emerged the first souls, powerful and transformative entities that imbued their bearers with immense power and purpose. These foundational souls were claimed by 4 distinct beings, each destined to play a crucial role in the unfolding drama. There was Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, whose very essence radiated with the warmth and power of the sun itself. Then came the Witch of Izalith, a formidable sorceress who mastered the chaotic energies of fire. Nito, the first of the dead, embodied the very concept of mortality and decay, a being of bone and miasma. And finally, the furtive pygmy, a figure shrouded in mystery, whose soul, though seemingly insignificant at the time, held a dark and profound secret that would only much later come to light. These lords, now imbued with unprecedented power, looked upon the world as it was, a realm dominated by the ancient, unyielding, everlasting dragons, and saw not a natural order, but an oppressive stagnation. Gwyn, with his radiant presence and unwavering conviction, quickly rose as the charismatic leader of these newfound powers. He recognized the dragons, with their impervious stone scales and eternal existence, as the primary obstacle to the establishment of a new world order, one defined by the dynamic forces of life and death, light and dark, rather than the unchanging grey of the past. Uniting the other lords under his banner, Gwyn declared war on the ancient dominion, aiming to dismantle the dragon's millennia-long reign and usher in an age of fire, an era of change and vitality. His ambition was not merely to conquer, but to fundamentally redefine existence itself, to replace the static eternity of the dragons with a vibrant, if fleeting, cycle. The stakes were nothing less than the soul of the world. Yet, within the ranks of the dragons themselves, a deep-seated resentment festered, a schism that would prove to be their undoing. Seath the Scaleless, a grotesque and aberrant dragon, was born without the very stone scales that granted his kin their legendary immortality. This congenital defect, a cruel twist of fate, rendered him an outcast, forever excluded from the true power and prestige of his brethren. He was an anomaly, a vulnerable speck in a lineage of invincibility, and this perceived weakness fueled a profound envy and a burning desire for power. Seath coveted the immortality that was denied to him, observing the dragon's unyielding existence with a mixture of awe and bitter jealousy. He studied their physiology, their habits, their very essence, seeking any weakness, any crack in their seemingly impenetrable facade, driven by a desperate longing to transcend his own mortal limitations and perhaps, in his twisted ambition, even surpass his kin. His resentment, a silent poison, would ultimately become a weapon in the hands of his enemies. With the lords united and their objectives clear, the monumental assault on the dragon's dominion commenced. The archtrees, colossal, ancient trees that pierced the very heavens, served as the pillars of the dragon's world, their roots anchoring the earth and their branches, forming a vast, interwoven canopy that stretched across the primordial landscape. These immense structures were not merely shelters, they were the very foundation of the dragon's existence, their strongholds, their sanctuaries. The lords, with their newly acquired powers, launched a coordinated offensive, targeting these colossal pillars, aiming to dismantle the dragon's world from its very foundations. The sheer scale of the conflict was unprecedented, a clash of titans that shook the very foundations of reality. The sound of crumbling stone and splintering wood echoed across the nascent world as the ancient strongholds, once thought impregnable, began to fall. Gwyn, leading the charge with his divine might, wielded his legendary sunlight spears, bolts of pure, concentrated light that pierced the gloom and struck down the mighty dragons. Each spear was a miniature sun, burning through their flesh and shattering their ancient defenses. His attacks were not merely physical, they were a direct assault on the dragon's very essence, a manifestation of the new age's power overwhelming the old. Alongside him, Nito, the first of the dead, unleashed his horrifying miasma of death, a swirling, suffocating cloud of decay and despair. This insidious force, an antithesis to the dragon's eternal life, seeped into their very being, eroding their legendary stone scales from within, turning their greatest defense into a source of vulnerability. The miasma was a slow, agonizing poison, a constant reminder of the mortality that Nito represented. Simultaneously, The Witch of Izalith, a master of pyromancy, and her formidable daughters of chaos unleashed torrents of searing flame upon the dragon's territories. Their magic, a chaotic and destructive force, conjured immense firestorms that swept across the land, scorching the ancient archtrees and engulfing the dragons in infernos of unimaginable intensity. The very air crackled with their destructive power, the heat so intense that it warped the landscape itself. These infernal assaults were not just about destruction. They were a symbolic cleansing, a burning away of the old order to make way for the new. The combined might of these three forces, each representing a fundamental aspect of the new world, proved to be an overwhelming challenge to the dragon's ancient supremacy. It was amidst this cataclysmic conflict that Seath the Scaleless, driven by his bitter resentment and insatiable lust for power, made his treacherous move. Observing the ongoing struggle, he recognized an opportunity to finally achieve his desired immortality, even if it meant betraying his own kind. He approached Gwyn, offering invaluable intelligence about the dragon's weaknesses, revealing the secret of their stone scales and the true source of their invulnerability. In exchange for this crucial betrayal, Seath demanded power and, more importantly, protection from the wrath of his former kin, a guarantee of his continued existence in the New World Order. His treachery was a turning point, a fatal blow to the dragon's resistance, providing the Lords with the precise knowledge needed to exploit their ancient enemy's most guarded secret. Armed with Seath's treacherous insights, the Lords redoubled their efforts. The dragon's near impenetrable stone scales, once their greatest defense, the very embodiment of their eternal nature, began to crumble under the combined assault. Gwyn's lightning spears, now guided by Seath's knowledge, struck with pinpoint accuracy, targeting the precise points where the scales were weakest or where their magical resilience could be bypassed. Nito's miasma, now even more potent with the understanding of its target, seeped into the cracks and fissures, accelerating the decay and shattering the integrity of the stone. The combined force of lightning and death, a synergistic assault, proved to be the ultimate undoing of the dragon's ancient protection. Their scales, once a symbol of their invincibility, became their greatest vulnerability, turning their strength into their downfall. The once dominant dragons, now vulnerable and exposed, were driven to the brink of extinction. Their numbers dwindled rapidly, their ancient roars replaced by cries of agony and despair. Only a scattered few managed to flee the onslaught, retreating into the deepest, darkest corners of the world, seeking refuge in hidden caves or forgotten realms. Others simply went into hiding, their immense forms camouflaged amidst the scarred landscape, hoping to weather the storm and perhaps, one day, reclaim their lost dominion. The vast majority, however, met their end at the hands of the triumphant lords, their ancient lineage all but eradicated. Among the victors, however, a profound tragedy unfolded. The Nameless King, Gwyn's firstborn and a formidable warrior in his own right, harbored a deep sympathy for the dragons, recognizing their ancient majesty and perhaps even lamenting their demise. His heart, unlike his father's, was not filled with hatred for the ancient beings, but with a sense of respect and perhaps even kinship. This defiance, this act of compassion for the vanquished, was seen as an unforgivable betrayal by Gwyn. As a consequence, the Nameless King was stripped of his godhood, his name erased from all records, his very existence expunged from the annals of history. He became a forgotten figure, a poignant reminder of the harsh realities of the New Age, a casualty of the very war he helped to win. Even with the dragons largely defeated, the Lords were not content to leave any potential threat unchecked. To ensure the complete and utter eradication of the remaining dragon remnants, Materia, the Dark Eater, a formidable and ancient dragon himself, was raised by the gods with a singular purpose: to hunt down and consume any surviving members of his own kind. Materia, imbued with the power of the Abyss, became a relentless hunter, a grim reaper for his own species, forever bound to a solitary and tragic quest. His existence was a testament to the Lord's ruthless efficiency and their unwavering commitment to their new world order, a constant reminder that no challenge to their authority would be tolerated. Amidst this widespread devastation, one ancient dragon, the Stone Dragon of Ash Lake, managed to escape the cataclysm entirely. This colossal, silent being, a relic of a bygone era, retreated deep beneath the world, finding sanctuary in Ash Lake, a pristine and untouched realm that remained eternally shrouded in the primordial grey. Ash Lake, a place untouched by the First Flame's disparity, remained a pocket of the Age of Ancients, a silent testament to what once was. The Stone Dragon, a symbol of the enduring past, entered a deep slumber, patiently awaiting an unknown future, a silent guardian of the last untouched sanctuary of the ancients. Its presence was a subtle defiance, a quiet refusal to be erased from existence, a living monument to the world that had been. With the dragons largely vanquished and their dominion shattered, Gwyn established his magnificent kingdom of Anor Londo atop the ruins of their former strongholds. This gleaming city, a testament to the Lord's triumph, became the shining beacon of the new era, a symbol of the Age of Fire's glory and power. Anor Londo was not merely a city, it was a declaration, a monument to the victory of the Lords and the dawn of a new age, an era defined by light, warmth, and the dynamic interplay of life and death. As for Seath the Scaleless, his treachery was richly rewarded. Gwyn, true to his word, granted Seath dukedom, bestowing upon him a position of immense power and prestige within the newly established kingdom. Furthermore, in a gesture of profound gratitude and acknowledgement of his crucial role in the Dragon War, Gwyn bestowed upon Seath a fragment of his own powerful soul, a gift that further solidified Seath's newfound status and influence. With this immense power and protection, Seath established his grand archives, a vast repository of knowledge and research where he tirelessly pursued his lifelong obsession, the study of immortality. He sought to understand the secrets of life and death, to unravel the mysteries of the soul, driven by his unending desire to transcend his own mortal limitations and achieve true, everlasting existence, a goal that had fueled his betrayal and redefined his purpose in the new Age of Fire. His archives became a hub of forbidden knowledge, a place where the boundaries of life and death were constantly challenged, and perhaps, in his twisted ambition, even broken. Though the dragon's reign was shattered, a few, like the mighty Calamite, the Black Dragon, managed to evade the initial onslaught. This colossal beast, known for its singular piercing eye and its ability to unleash a devastating torrent of black flames, retreated to the secluded reaches of Ulachila, a land that would, much later, fall to the abyss. Calamite's survival was a testament to the sheer resilience of its kind, a shadow lurking in the periphery of the nascent Age of Fire. However, even this formidable survivor would not escape the Lord's relentless pursuit. Centuries later, long after the main conflict had subsided, Calamite would become the target of Hawkeye Guff, one of Gwyn's legendary Four Knights. Guff, a giant renowned for his unparalleled archery skills, would ultimately bring down the beast, a final poignant act in the long and bloody war against the dragons, cementing the Lord's dominion, even over the last vestiges of the ancient world. Amidst the ashes of the war, the colossal archtrees, though scarred and many felled, refused to vanish entirely. Their immense, hollowed trunks and sprawling branches, once the very fabric of the dragon's domain, stood as solemn monuments to a bygone era. Deep beneath the surface, protected by layers of earth and stone, the roots of these ancient trees found sanctuary in Ash Lake. This hidden realm, a vast expanse of calm water and immense tree trunks, became a living museum of the primordial world, a place where the echoes of eternity still resonated. Ash Lake, therefore, was not merely a geographical location, but a vital link to the Age of Ancients, a silent promise that some things, even in the face of cataclysmic change, could endure. It was a place untouched by the scorching flames and the brutal conflicts that raged above, a testament to the enduring power of nature and the deep roots of existence. The primordial crystal, the very source of the dragon's immortality and their unyielding scales, did not simply vanish with their defeat. Instead, it was seized by Seath the Scaleless, the albino dragon who had betrayed his own kind. This crystalline marvel, pulsating with an ancient, inexplicable energy, became the centerpiece of Seath's obsessive research. Within the confines of his crystal cave and the Duke's archives, Seath, driven by a desperate desire to achieve true immortality for himself, began to dissect and experiment with the crystal's properties. He sought to understand its secrets, to replicate its power, to transcend his own inherent mortality. His experiments, often involving grotesque forms of life and the manipulation of crystal magic, would lay the foundation for much of the sorcery that would later proliferate in Lordran, a twisted legacy born from betrayal and insatiable ambition. The primordial crystal, therefore, was not just a relic of the past, but a catalyst for the future, shaping the very nature of magic and knowledge in the Age of Fire. With the dragons all but eradicated, the victorious lords, led by the mighty Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, began the arduous task of carving up the world among themselves. Gwyn, naturally, ascended to the role of supreme ruler, establishing his dominion over Lordran, a land that would become the heart of the New Age. He founded Anor Londo, the city of the gods, a gleaming bastion of light and power, a symbol of his triumph and his divine right to rule. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters, masters of pyromancy, established their domain in the demon-infested depths beneath the earth, their power now dedicated to serving the new order. Nito, the first of the dead, retreated to the eerie catacombs, becoming the silent guardian of death itself. And Seath, the traitorous dragon, was granted the Duke's archives, a sprawling repository of knowledge and a laboratory for his unsettling experiments, a reward for his crucial betrayal. This division of power, a carefully orchestrated hierarchy, was designed to maintain order and prevent any resurgence of the ancient world, solidifying the Lord's control over the newly forged Age of Fire. The war against the dragons was not without its cost, even for the victorious lords. Gwyn's elite warriors, the Black Knights, bore the indelible scars of the conflict. These formidable knights, clad in their distinctive black armor, were at the forefront of the assault on the dragons, facing the blistering heat of their flames and the raw power of their ancient magic. During the climactic battles, particularly those against the most formidable dragons, the Black Knights were scorched by the Chaos Flame, a searing, unstable energy unleashed by the Witch of Izalith's initial attempts to replicate the first flame. This infernal fire, intended to be a weapon against the dragons, instead warped and twisted the knights, burning their very souls. They became hollowed remnants of their former selves, their armor fused to their bodies, their minds consumed by a perpetual state of burning. These spectral warriors, forever bound to their duty, would wander the land long after the war, their silent burning forms a grim reminder of the war's true cost and the devastating power of the Chaos Flame. They were living, burning monuments to Gwyn's relentless ambition and the sacrifices made in the name of the New Age. The near extinction of the dragons marked a definitive end to their era, a cataclysmic shift in the cosmic balance. Their ancient, eternal reign was over, replaced by the fleeting, yet brilliant Age of Fire. However, their legacy, like the deep roots of the archtrees, lingered. It permeated the very fabric of the world, woven into the deepest reaches of the earth and the most ancient legends. Whispers of their immense power, their unyielding scales, and their primordial wisdom continued to echo through the nascent age. The very landscape bore witness to their former dominion, from the dragon-scarred mountains to the vast, empty skies where they once soared. Their influence, though diminished, was not entirely extinguished. It lay dormant, waiting for the opportune moment to resurface, a constant reminder that even in victory, the past could not be entirely erased. The dragons, though gone, were not forgotten, their essence embedded within the very soul of the world. Ash Lake, nestled deep beneath the Great Hollow, remained a secret refuge, a pristine pocket of the ancient world, untouched by the war's devastating fury. Its calm waters and colossal archtrees stood as a silent testament to the age of ancients, a place where time seemed to flow differently, where the primordial stillness had never been disturbed. It was a sanctuary, a hidden gem, a place of peace and profound antiquity, completely isolated from the chaos and destruction that had reshaped the world above. The lords, in their fervent pursuit of the dragons, either never discovered this hidden realm or perhaps deemed it insignificant. Regardless, Ash Lake endured, a living relic, a whisper of what once was, a place where the very air hummed with the echoes of eternity. It was a sacred space, a forgotten corner of creation that held the true essence of the world before the flame, a place of profound spiritual significance. In the quiet aftermath of the war, a clandestine movement began to take shape. The Path of the Dragon Covenant, composed of individuals who revered the lost dragons and sought to emulate their power, this secret society rejected the new order established by the lords. They believed that true power lay not in the fleeting flame, but in the eternal, unchanging nature of the dragons. These adherents, often hermits and recluses, sought to transcend their humanity, to shed their mortal coil and achieve the unyielding strength and immortality of the ancient dragons. They practiced ancient rituals, collected dragon scales, and sought out the few surviving dragon relics, hoping to unlock the secrets of their transformation. Their ultimate goal was to become dragons themselves, to reclaim the power that had been lost, to usher in a new age of dragonkind. The Path of the Dragon, therefore, was not just a covenant, but a rebellion, a quiet defiance against the triumphant lords, a testament to the enduring allure of the ancient world and the desire for a different path. It was a secret society that harbored a deep reverence for the past, a longing for a return to the primordial state of being, a rejection of the fleeting age of fire. The brutal, devastating war against the dragons, with its immense cost in lives and the sheer scale of destruction, profoundly shaped Gwyn's psyche. It fueled within him a deep-seated fear, an almost pathological dread of the Age of Dark, the inevitable period of decline that would follow the fading of the first flame. Having witnessed the absolute power of the dragons and the immense effort required to overcome them, Gwyn understood the fragility of his newly established order. He knew that without the first flame, his Age of Fire would crumble, and the world would descend into an era of chaos and uncertainty, a return to the primordial void he had fought so hard to escape. This fear, this looming dread of the inevitable, would ultimately drive his most desperate and self-sacrificing act, the linking of the first flame. He would sacrifice himself, his very soul, to rekindle the dying embers, to prolong the Age of Fire, to stave off the encroaching darkness, a decision born from the trauma of war and the desperate desire to preserve his legacy. His fear was not merely personal, but a fear for the very existence of his age, a fear that would dictate the destiny of Lordran for centuries to come. While the vast majority of dragons were annihilated, a few, often lesser drakes, or those who had retreated to the most inaccessible corners of the world, managed to survive. These last surviving dragons, like the infamous Hellkite drake that guards the undead Berg Bridge, became solitary, aggressive creatures, their ancient wisdom replaced by a fierce territoriality and a primal instinct for survival. They were not the majestic, eternal beings of the Age of Ancients, but rather savage beasts, driven by instinct and a deep-seated hatred for humanity and the lords who had decimated their kind. They guarded their territories with a relentless ferocity, their breath attacks and powerful claws a potent deterrent to any who dared to trespass. These drakes, a shadow of their former glory, served as a constant reminder of the dragon's past dominion and the enduring danger they still posed, even in their diminished state. They were the last, desperate echoes of a fallen empire, their rage a testament to the injustice they had suffered. The remnants of the dragon's immense power, even in their defeat, became highly sought-after treasures. Scholars, driven by a thirst for knowledge, and warriors, seeking to enhance their own strength, scoured the land for any vestige of their ancient might. Dragon scales, imbued with a unique, almost magical resilience, were particularly prized. These scales, often harvested from the carcasses of fallen dragons, or painstakingly acquired from the few surviving drakes, were used to forge incredibly strong armor and weapons, imbued with a fraction of the dragon's legendary durability. Dragon weapons, often crafted from their bones or teeth, were revered for their destructive power and their ability to inflict devastating elemental damage. The pursuit of these relics became a dangerous yet rewarding endeavor, a testament to the enduring allure of the dragon's power and the desire to harness it for one's own gain. These relics were not just trophies, but tools, instruments of power that allowed mortals to tap into the ancient strength of a bygone era. In the wake of their triumph, the victorious lords, particularly Gwyn, engaged in a deliberate and systematic rewriting of history. They sought to solidify their narrative, to present themselves as the rightful rulers, the saviors of the world from the primordial darkness. This historical revisionism involved two key aspects: the erasure of the Nameless King and the downplaying of Seath's betrayal. The Nameless King, Gwyn's firstborn son and the god of war, had sided with the dragons during the conflict, a profound act of defiance against his father. For this unforgivable transgression, his very existence was purged from the annals of history, his name struck from every record, his statues defaced. He became the Nameless King, a forgotten deity, a testament to Gwyn's ruthless control over the past. Similarly, Seath's betrayal, a crucial turning point in the war, was downplayed, presented as a mere act of self-preservation rather than a calculated act of treachery. The lords sought to maintain an image of unwavering unity and moral superiority, carefully curating the historical record to suit their agenda, ensuring that their version of events would be the only one remembered. This manipulation of history was a powerful tool, a means of control that extended beyond the battlefield, shaping the very perception of truth in the nascent Age of Fire. Despite the Lord's attempts to erase and rewrite, the legacy of the dragons endured. It was woven into the very foundations of the world, an indelible mark that could not be fully expunged. The vast, empty skies, the ancient mountains, the very earth itself, all bore witness to their former reign. And deep beneath the surface, hidden from the prying eyes of the Age of Fire, Ash Lake stood as a silent, unwavering testament to the Age of Ancients. It was a place where the echoes of eternity still resonated, where the primordial stillness remained undisturbed, a living monument to a time before the flame. Ash Lake was not merely a geographical location, but a spiritual anchor, a place that held the true essence of the world, a constant reminder that even in victory, the past could not be entirely erased. It was a sacred space, a forgotten corner of creation that held the true essence of the world before the flame, a place of profound spiritual significance. The dragon's legacy, therefore, was not just a memory, but a living presence, a deep-seated influence that would continue to shape the destiny of Lordran long after their physical forms had vanished. The cataclysmic clash that birthed the Age of Fire, the Dragon War, left an indelible scar upon the nascent world, forever altering its very fabric. as the triumphant lords, Gwyn and his allies, carved out their dominion and established the foundational tenets of their new era, the Age of Fire. A profound shift occurred in the cosmic balance. Yet, even amidst this fervent establishment of a new order, pockets of the old world endured, clinging to a fading existence. It is within this specific tumultuous period, immediately following the Dragon War and extending through the early centuries of the Age of Fire, that we turn our gaze to Ash Lake, a hidden sanctuary that would remain largely untouched by the gods' burgeoning influence. This era, marked by its isolation, represents a unique temporal anomaly, a preserved fragment of the Age of Ancients existing within the Age of Fire. In the immediate aftermath of the Dragon War, a singular pivotal event set the stage for Ash Lake's enduring legacy. One of the last surviving everlasting dragons, a creature of immense power and ancient lineage, made a desperate retreat. Hunted to near extinction by the gods, this dragon, whose brethren had been systematically annihilated for their scales of immortality, sought refuge from the relentless persecution. Its destination was a place of profound antiquity, a realm that time itself seemed to have forgotten: Ash Lake. This submerged landscape, a vast cavern beneath the earth, offered a natural, if precarious, sanctuary. The dragon, wounded but not broken, navigated the oppressive gloom and the colossal, petrified archtrees, driven by an instinct for survival and a deep-seated desire for peace. Upon reaching Ash Lake, the dragon did not simply hide, it ascended. Its destination was the summit of the central archtree, a colossal, ancient growth that pierced the misty ceiling of the cavern, its crown lost in the ethereal haze. This particular archtree, taller than any other within Ash Lake, became the dragon's chosen haven. Here, amidst the gnarled branches and the silent, watchful eyes of its petrified kin, the dragon established its sanctuary. It was a declaration, a silent defiance against the god's dominion, a testament to the enduring power of the ancients. This act of ascension was not merely physical, it was symbolic, a reassertion of its ancient right to exist, even if in isolation. The towering archtree, a living fossil of the primordial world, provided not only shelter, but also a spiritual anchor, connecting the dragon to the very essence of the Age of Ancients. Remarkably, Ash Lake remained largely untouched by the Age of Fire. While the world above burned with the vibrant, fleeting energy of Gwyn's age, Ash Lake preserved the grey crags, the colossal archtrees, and the pervasive, misty atmosphere that characterized the Age of Ancients. It was a temporal bubble, a living museum of a bygone era. The very air in Ash Lake carried the weight of ages, a thick, palpable silence broken only by the gentle lapping of the water or the distant calls of unseen creatures. The petrified archtrees, whose roots formed the very foundation of the world, stood as silent sentinels, their bark etched with the passage of countless millennia. The absence of sunlight, replaced by an ethereal, ambient glow, contributed to the otherworldly feel, a constant twilight that mirrored the fading light of the Age of Ancients. This preservation was not accidental. It was a consequence of Ash Lake's profound isolation and its inherent resistance to the superficial changes wrought by the new era. The raw elemental nature of the place, its deep connection to the Earth's primordial energies, made it impervious to the fleeting energies of the first flame. It was within this preserved sanctuary that a unique covenant, a sacred pact, began to form, the Stone Dragon Covenant. The everlasting dragon, now a silent, watchful guardian atop its archtree, became its focal point. This covenant was not one of conquest or power, but of preservation and ancient wisdom. To those rare individuals who managed to find their way to Ash Lake, the stone dragon offered a profound gift: the dragon's scales. These scales, imbued with the dragon's ancient essence, were not merely trinkets. They were a pathway to draconic transformation, a means for mortals to shed their humanity and embrace the power and resilience of the everlasting dragons. The Covenant was a testament to the dragon's enduring legacy, a silent invitation to those who sought to understand the true nature of the world beyond the gods' fabricated narratives. It was a promise of strength, of endurance, and of a connection to a power far older than the first flame itself. The very act of offering these scales, a symbol of the dragon's own immortality, was an act of profound generosity, a silent rebellion against the forces that had sought to erase its kind. As Ash Lake settled into its quiet existence, other primordial creatures, relics of the pre-fire world, found their way to its depths. Among them was the Hydra, a multi-headed beast of immense power and ancient lineage. This creature, a testament to the raw, untamed forces that existed before the advent of souls and fire, took residence in the shallows of Ash Lake. Its presence was a stark reminder of the world's primordial chaos, a time when such beings roamed unchecked. The Hydra, with its serpentine forms and deadly attacks, was a formidable guardian of its watery domain, a living embodiment of the lake's ancient, untamed spirit. Its very existence in Ash Lake underscored the sanctuary's unique status as a refuge for creatures that had no place in the ordered, civilized world of the gods. It was a creature of instinct and immense power, a force of nature that had simply endured, untroubled by the rise and fall of civilizations. In the deepest recesses of the lake, far from the light and the immediate threats, another form of ancient life continued to thrive. Clam-like creatures, massive and slow-moving, emerged in the lake's depths. These beings, possibly descendants of even more ancient life forms that predated even the everlasting dragons, fed on the remnants of the past. Their diet consisted of the rich, primordial nutrients that had accumulated over countless ages, the very essence of the Age of Ancients. These clams, while seemingly innocuous, were a vital part of Ash Lake's ecosystem, a silent testament to the enduring power of life, even in the most desolate and ancient of environments. They were a living connection to a time before time, their slow, deliberate existence, a stark contrast to the tumultuous world above. Their shells, often encrusted with ancient sediments, held within them the secrets of untold millennia, a silent record of the world's deepest history. As the centuries of the Age of Fire slowly unfolded, the everlasting dragon atop the central archtree entered an eternal slumber. This was not a death, but a profound transformation, emerging with its sanctuary. Its stone scales, already imbued with the essence of eternity, began to coalesce with the bark of the archtree, becoming one with the ancient wood. The dragon, in its final act of self-preservation and commitment to its sanctuary, became an integral part of the very landscape. It was a profound symbiosis, a testament to the dragon's deep connection to the primordial world. This slumber was a conscious choice, a way to ensure its continued existence and the preservation of Ash Lake itself. Its form, now indistinguishable from the gnarled wood and ancient stone, became a living monument, a silent, watchful guardian that transcended mere physical presence. The dragon, in its eternal sleep, became the very heart of the Stone Dragon Covenant, a silent promise of ancient power and enduring wisdom to those who would seek it. Around the base of the slumbering dragon, a remarkable phenomenon occurred. A path of petrified dragon scales, seemingly growing from the very archtree itself, began to form. These scales, imbued with the dragon's essence, created a natural pathway, allowing pilgrims and seekers to approach the Stone Dragon Covenant. This path was not man-made. It was an organic extension of the dragon's presence, a silent invitation to those who were worthy of its ancient wisdom. The scales shimmered with a faint, ethereal glow, guiding those who sought the ancient truth. This path served as a physical manifestation of the covenant, a tangible link between the mortal world and the ancient power of the dragon. It was a sacred path, trodden by those who dared to defy the god's narrative and seek a deeper understanding of the world's true origins. Each scale was a tiny fragment of eternity, a silent whisper of the age of ancients. The only known passage to Ash Lake from the world above was through the Great Hollow, a massive archtree root system that descended deep into the earth. This labyrinthine network of colossal roots, a testament to the sheer scale of the primordial trees, served as a natural barrier, protecting Ash Lake from casual intrusion. The journey through the Great Hollow was perilous, fraught with dangers and the oppressive weight of the earth, a trial that only the most determined or desperate would undertake. It was a descent into the forgotten depths, a journey back in time to the very foundations of the world. The Great Hollow was not merely a path, it was a transition, a liminal space that separated the Age of Fire from the enduring Age of Ancients. Its immense, gnarled roots, thick as ancient mountains, formed a natural bulwark, a protective shell around the hidden sanctuary. For the most part, the gods and lords of the Age of Fire remained blissfully unaware or profoundly indifferent to Ash Lake's existence. Their focus was on consolidating their power, expanding their dominion, and maintaining the fragile balance of the First Flame. Ash Lake, a realm of primordial, grey and silent antiquity, held little appeal for those who revelled in the vibrant, fleeting light of the Age of Fire. Its existence was either unknown, dismissed as mere legend, or simply deemed irrelevant to their grand designs. This indifference was Ash Lake's greatest protection, allowing it to remain undisturbed, a forgotten relic in a world consumed by new energies. The gods, with their focus on the present and the future, simply overlooked this pocket of the past, a profound oversight that allowed the ancient world to persist. Their ignorance was a shield, preserving the sanctuary from their destructive influence. Despite the gods' indifference, occasional undead or seekers of the ancients would stumble upon Ash Lake, drawn by persistent legends of the last dragon. These individuals, often driven by a desperate hope for a cure to their curse or a thirst for forbidden knowledge, represented the few who dared to look beyond the established order. They were the outliers, the renegades who questioned the gods' narratives and sought truth in the forgotten corners of the world. Their journeys were often arduous, guided by fragmented lore and whispered tales, a testament to the enduring power of myth and the human desire for meaning beyond the mundane. These seekers, whether driven by despair or enlightenment, were the only connection between Ash Lake and the wider world, a fragile bridge between two vastly different eras. They were the conduits through which the ancient wisdom of the dragon could potentially re-enter the world. To those worthy visitors who managed to reach its slumbering form, the stone dragon imparted a profound gift, the Path of the Dragon gesture. This ancient gesture was more than a simple movement. It was a remnant of draconic communion, a way to connect with the essence of the everlasting dragons. It allowed a mortal to transform, temporarily or permanently, into a dragon-like being, shedding their humanity and embracing the power of the ancients. This gesture was a symbol of trust, a mark of acceptance into the Stone Dragon Covenant, and a direct link to the primordial power of the dragon itself. It was a silent, powerful communication, a transfer of ancient knowledge and power that transcended language, a testament to the dragon's enduring desire to share its legacy with those who sought it. The gesture was a sacred ritual, a profound act of spiritual communion with the last of the everlasting dragons. While the stone dragon offered peace and wisdom, the Hydra, ever vigilant, fiercely defended its territory. Any intruder who ventured too close to its watery domain was met with a barrage of powerful attacks, a stark reminder of the dangers that still lurked within Ash Lake. The Hydra's aggression was not malicious, it was primal, an instinctual defense of its ancient territory, a manifestation of the raw, untamed forces of the pre-fire world, Its presence served as a natural deterrent, further isolating the sanctuary and ensuring that only the most determined or fortunate individuals would ever reach the stone dragon. The Hydra was a living boundary, a guardian of the ancient waters, its multi-headed fury a testament to the enduring power of primordial life. Its attacks were a test, a challenge to those who sought to penetrate the sanctuary's defenses. Even the seemingly innocuous clams in the lake's depths held a secret, a relic of the Age of Ancients, the rare twilight herb. This unique flora, found only in Ash Lake, possessed properties that hinted at the primordial energies of the pre-fire world. Its rarity and its unique characteristics made it a prized possession for those who understood its true significance. The twilight herb was a living fossil, a botanical echo of a time when the world was still grey and untamed, its very existence a testament to Ash Lake's enduring connection to the Age of Ancients. It was a tangible link to a forgotten past, a plant that had witnessed the world's transformation and yet remained unchanged, its essence imbued with the ancient magic of the primordial era. The herb's properties, often tied to restoration or unusual effects, spoke of a magic that predated the soul-based sorceries of the Age of Fire, a deeper, more elemental power. The profound isolation of Ash Lake, even within the Age of Fire, is further underscored by the fact that no flame or light from this new era reaches its depths. It remains perpetually shrouded in a grey mist, a stark contrast to the vibrant, often fiery landscapes above. This enduring twilight is not merely an aesthetic choice, it is a fundamental aspect of the lake's existence, a testament to its resistance to the encroaching Age of Fire. This lack of conventional light contributes to the pervasive sense of ancientness, a feeling that time itself has slowed, perhaps even ceased, in this forgotten corner of the world. It is a place where the concepts of day and night, so central to the cycles of the Age of Fire, hold no meaning. This enduring purity, this rejection of the new order, proves attractive to a select few. The Dragon's Covenant, an oath sworn to the last everlasting dragon, attracts a small number of devoted followers. These individuals, disillusioned by the impermanence and strife of the Age of Fire, seek the purity of the ancients, yearning for a return to the unchanging stasis of the Grey Age. They are outliers, rebels against the prevailing cosmic order, drawn to the promise of immortality and the rejection of disparity. Their numbers are few, their presence a quiet defiance in a world dominated by the lords and their legacies. They seek not power, but peace, not glory, but permanence. Their pilgrimage to Ash Lake is a journey of spiritual conviction, a profound rejection of the very principles upon which Lordran was built. They are often seen as madmen by those above, their devotion to a forgotten age considered an act of futility, yet their conviction remains unshaken. The archtrees of Ash Lake stand as silent witnesses to this enduring purity. Unlike the decaying, often hollowed trees found elsewhere in Lordran, these colossal structures show no signs of decay, standing as they did in the time before disparity, before the advent of life and death as we understand them. Their branches reach into the perpetual mist, their roots plunging into the still waters, forming an intricate, unchanging ecosystem. They are living fossils, direct links to a primordial past, their very existence a defiance of the natural order of decay that governs the Age of Fire. Their bark is thick and gnarled, impervious to the passage of millennia. Their leaves, if they can be called that, are a muted grey, reflecting the pervasive atmosphere of the lake. They are not merely large trees, they are cosmic pillars, holding up the very fabric of this ancient realm, their sheer scale and unblemished state, a constant reminder of the world that was. At the heart of this ancient sanctuary lies the stone dragon, the last surviving everlasting dragon, whose slumber is so deep that some visitors, unfamiliar with the true nature of these primordial beings, mistake it for a statue or even a natural part of the tree itself. Its immense form, covered in stone-like scales, is perfectly integrated into the landscape, a testament to its ancient origins and its profound connection to the very essence of Ash Lake. This deep slumber is not a sign of weakness, but of profound contemplation, a quiet observation of the cycles of the world. It is a being that transcends the need for action, its presence alone a powerful statement. Its eyes, if they ever open, would hold the wisdom of eons, the silent understanding of countless ages. The very air around it seems to hum with ancient power, a dormant force waiting, watching. The presence of the Hydra, a multi-headed serpentine creature, further suggests that other primordial beings, echoes of the ancient world, may still linger in the untouched corners of the world, particularly within Ash Lake. The Hydra, a beast of immense power and resilience, is a creature of myth and legend, its existence a direct challenge to the established order of the Age of Fire. Its presence here is not an anomaly, but a confirmation of Ash Lake's status as a refuge for the ancient and the untamed. It is a predator, yes, but also a relic, a living testament to the powerful and often grotesque forms that existed before the rise of humanity and the Lords. Its multiple heads, each capable of spewing torrents of water, are a formidable defense, protecting its ancient domain from intrusion. The clams found within the lake's depths possess shells that are unnaturally durable, a trait that could very well be inherited from their ancient ancestors, beings that existed before the concept of fragility took hold. These aren't ordinary mollusks. Their shells are almost impervious to conventional damage, a reflection of the enduring properties of the Grey Age. They are a subtle yet powerful reminder of the inherent resilience of life in this primordial environment, a resilience that transcends the vulnerabilities of the Age of Fire. Their pearls, though rare, are said to possess unique properties, further hinting at their ancient lineage and the enduring magic of Ash Lake. Remarkably, despite its profound significance, no records of Ash Lake exist in the official annals of Lordran. Its knowledge is passed only through obscure oral tradition, whispered tales among those who seek the forbidden or the forgotten. This absence from official history is not an oversight, but a deliberate act of suppression, or perhaps a natural consequence of its utter isolation. The Lords, in their efforts to establish and maintain the Age of Fire, would have little interest in preserving the memory of a place that so profoundly rejects their dominion. Thus, Ash Lake remains a secret, a myth to most, its existence known only to a select few who dare to delve into the deepest, most forgotten corners of the world. This lack of written history only adds to its mystique, making it a place of legend rather than documented fact. Even the scales of the stone dragon, though stone-like in their appearance and texture, still bear faint traces of the immortality that once defined the everlasting dragons. This is not a superficial resemblance, but an inherent property, a subtle glow, or an indescribable resilience that hints at their primordial origins. It is a reminder that even in its dormant state, the dragon retains its fundamental nature, its connection to the eternal. These scales are not merely armor. They are a living testament to an age when death held no sway, when beings existed in a state of unchanging permanence. To touch them is to feel the echoes of an eternity, a profound connection to the very fabric of the Grey Age. The lake's waters are eerily still, a mirror-like surface that reflects the perpetual grey mist above. This stillness is not merely a lack of current, it is as if time itself moves differently in this hidden sanctuary, a viscous, slow-moving current that distorts the perception of duration. The concept of linear time, so central to the Age of Fire, seems to unravel here, replaced by a cyclical or even static existence. This profound stillness contributes to the sense of timelessness, the feeling that one has stepped outside the conventional flow of history into a realm where the past and present converge. The surface is unbroken, reflecting the ancient archtrees with perfect clarity, a pristine canvas upon which the echoes of eternity are painted. The Stone Dragon Covenant's teachings fundamentally reject the concept of disparity, the very force that brought about the Age of Fire and its inherent cycles of life and death, light and dark. Instead, they embrace the Grey Age's stasis, yearning for a return to the unchanging, eternal existence that characterized the world before the advent of the first flame. Their philosophy is one of profound acceptance of the primordial, a rejection of the fleeting and the temporary. They seek not to conquer, but to endure, not to change, but to remain. This covenant offers a path to a different kind of immortality, not through power or glory, but through an unwavering connection to the ancient past. They believe that true liberation lies in shedding the burdens of disparity, in returning to a state of pure, unblemished existence. Their rituals are simple, their devotion absolute, their hope fixed on the unwavering presence of the stone dragon. The Great Hollow's roots intertwine with Ash Lake's archtrees, a profound and undeniable connection that suggests a deeper, more fundamental relationship between these two realms. The Great Hollow, a colossal tree itself, acts as a conduit, a living bridge between the surface world and the ancient depths. Its roots, plunging deep into the earth, eventually merge with the primordial structures of Ash Lake, blurring the lines between the two. This intertwining is not merely a physical connection, it is a symbolic one, representing the enduring link between the world of the Age of Fire and the remnants of the Age of Ancients. It is through this intricate network of roots that the subtle energies and ancient knowledge of Ash Lake might subtly influence the world above, even if unacknowledged. The sheer scale of this intertwined root system is staggering, a subterranean forest connecting two distinct realities. Crucially, no bonfires or flames are found in Ash Lake. This is not an oversight, but a fundamental aspect of its nature, a powerful statement that fire holds no dominion in this remnant of the Age of Ancients. The bonfire, the symbol of the Age of Fire and its cycles of rekindling, is utterly absent here. Its absence underscores Ash Lake's complete rejection of the New Order, its unwavering commitment to the primordial state. Without bonfires, the concept of respawning, of returning from death, takes on a different meaning. Here, death is a finality, a return to the stasis of the Grey Age, rather than a temporary setback. This lack of fire is a defining characteristic, making Ash Lake an anomaly in a world dominated by the First Flame's influence. It is a place where the rules of the Age of Fire simply do not apply, a true sanctuary from its pervasive power. And so, the last surviving everlasting dragon, the Stone Dragon, remains a silent witness to the world's cycles. It neither interferes with the unfolding drama of the Age of Fire, nor fades away into oblivion. Its existence is one of profound observation, a detached yet ever-present entity that embodies the very essence of the Age of Ancients. It is a living monument to a forgotten era, a testament to the enduring power of the primordial. Its silence is not one of ignorance, but of profound understanding. Its stillness, not one of apathy, but of eternal patience. It is a reminder that even in a world consumed by change, some things remain constant, some truths endure, waiting for the cycle to turn once more. Its presence is a promise, a lingering echo of a time before disparity, a quiet hope for a return to the unchanging grey. It is the ultimate anchor to the past, a living history book, its very existence a challenge to the ephemeral nature of the Age of Fire. The Age of Ancients, a primordial epoch of grey crags, archtrees, and everlasting dragons, persists not merely as a distant memory or a faded legend, but as a tangible, if deeply concealed, reality. While the previous entry detailed the enduring sanctuary of Ash Lake, it is during the era of Dark Souls 1, specifically through the journey of the chosen undead, that this ancient world is finally rediscovered, and its profound implications brought to the forefront of the unfolding narrative. Our timeline now shifts to this crucial period, as the chosen undead, a destined figure bearing the dark sign, embarks on a quest that will inadvertently lead them to the very foundations of existence. The journey begins not with a grand revelation, but with a subtle, almost overlooked detail within the festering depths of Blighttown, a sprawling, poisonous chasm beneath Lordran. This wretched locale, a testament to the decay and corruption that permeates much of the world, holds a secret far more ancient than its current blight. Concealed behind an illusory wall, a deceptive trick of light and perception, lies the hidden entrance to the Great Hollow. This is no mere shortcut or optional path. It is a gateway, a literal descent into a forgotten past. The chosen undead, through perseverance or perhaps a stroke of serendipitous insight, discovers this illusion, revealing a dark, yawning passage. The air immediately shifts, growing heavier, laden with the scent of damp earth and primordial antiquity, a stark contrast to the acrid fumes of Blighttown. Descending through the Great Hollow is a perilous undertaking, a dizzying vertical journey into the Earth's core. The path is treacherous, marked by precarious ledges, crumbling platforms, and the ever-present threat of a fatal fall into the abyss below. As the chosen undead navigates this perilous descent, the true nature of the Great Hollow begins to reveal itself. It is not a natural cave system, but rather the internal structure of an immense hollowed-out tree. The very walls are composed of ancient wood, gnarled and petrified, bearing the unmistakable grain and texture of a colossal organism. This is no ordinary tree. It is a fragment, a colossal remnant of the archtrees that once dominated the primordial landscape of the Age of Ancients. These were the colossal, unmoving pillars that pierce the grey skies, their roots delving deep into the earth, their branches forming a canopy that stretched across the entire world. The Great Hollow, therefore, serves as a living fossil, a tangible link to a time before the advent of fire, before the rise of the gods, and before the very concept of life and death as understood in Lordran. Its internal structure, with its spiraling passages and vast, open chambers, evokes a sense of immense scale, hinting at the true size of the trees from which it originated. The sheer age of this structure is almost incomprehensible, predating even the oldest civilizations and the most ancient legends. The ecosystem within the Great Hollow is equally primordial, a testament to its isolation and its enduring connection to the ancient world. Basilisks, grotesque, frog-like creatures with bulbous eyes that inflict the curse status effect, skulk in the shadowy recesses. These creatures, with their petrifying gaze, are often associated with stagnant, corrupted environments, but here, their presence feels more fundamental, a part of the original, untamed wilderness. Alongside them are various mushroom-like creatures, from the small, unassuming fungi to the hulking, aggressive mushroom parents. These fungal entities, with their strange, almost alien biology, thrive in the damp, lightless environment, representing a form of life that existed long before the more conventional flora and fauna of the Age of Fire. Their presence further emphasizes the Great Hollow as a pocket of the primordial world, an untouched sanctuary where ancient life forms continue to flourish, largely undisturbed by the changes wrought upon the surface world. These creatures are not invaders. They are the indigenous inhabitants, the enduring legacy of an ecosystem that has persisted for eons, a stark reminder of the world's original, untamed state. The air itself feels different here, thick with moisture and the earthy scent of decay and growth, a constant reminder of the deep, biological processes at play. Finally, after what feels like an interminable descent through the labyrinthine passages of the Great Hollow, the chosen undead emerges into a scene of breathtaking, almost surreal beauty. The transition is abrupt, from the claustrophobic confines of the hollowed tree to a vast open expanse. This is Ash Lake, a place of myth and legend, a landscape that defies the very notion of time. It is a vast mist-covered expanse, stretching endlessly into the horizon, seemingly without beginning or end. The sky above is perpetually grey, a somber, unchanging canvas that mirrors the primordial world. Towering archtrees, far grander and more numerous than the fragment that comprises the Great Hollow, pierce the mist, their colossal trunks disappearing into the ethereal haze above. These are not mere trees, they are monuments, living relics of an age long past, their immense scale dwarfing anything seen in Lordran. The sheer size and number of these archtrees evoke a powerful sense of the world before the Age of Fire, a time when these colossal growths formed the very fabric of existence, a world of endless grey and eternal stability. The air here is still, almost reverent, broken only by the gentle lapping of water against the shore and the distant echoing cries of unseen creatures. As the chosen undead stands at the edge of this timeless realm, a deep, resonant roar reverberates across the lake. It is a sound of immense power and ancient authority, a sound that speaks of eons of existence. This is the roar of the stone dragon, an everlasting dragon, one of the last of its kind. The sound is not aggressive, but rather a profound declaration of its presence, a call that draws the chosen undead deeper into the heart of Ash Lake. The journey across the lake is a testament to its vastness, a slow, deliberate progression towards the source of that ancient sound. The mist swirls around, occasionally parting to reveal glimpses of the colossal archtrees, their forms like silent sentinels guarding this forgotten world. The water itself is calm, reflecting the grey sky and the indistinct forms of the distant trees, creating an almost dreamlike atmosphere. Eventually, the chosen undead reaches the source of the roar, a vast open space where the mist seems to thin slightly, revealing the colossal form of the stone dragon. This is not a dragon of fire and fury, like the many corrupted drakes and wyverns encountered in Lordran. This is an everlasting dragon, a creature of stone and primordial power, its scales like ancient rock, its form immense and unmoving. It is one of the very few true dragons to have survived the war against the gods, a living relic of the Age of Ancients. Yet, despite its immense power and ancient lineage, the stone dragon is remarkably passive. It does not attack, nor does it display any hostility. Instead, it remains largely still, its colossal head resting on the ground, its ancient eyes observing the chosen undead with a detached, almost indifferent gaze. This passivity is not born of weakness, but of a profound neutrality, a characteristic that defines the ancient dragons. They are uninterested in the petty squabbles of gods or men, their existence predating such conflicts, their concerns far removed from the fleeting cycles of fire and dark. They are beings of pure, unadulterated existence, their purpose simply to be. The stone dragon embodies this neutrality perfectly, a silent, enduring testament to a time before the world was fractured by ambition and conflict. Its presence in Ash Lake is not one of dominion, but of guardianship, a silent watch over the last vestiges of its kind's former glory. It is here, in the presence of this ancient being, that the chosen undead is presented with an extraordinary opportunity. The stone dragon offers the path of the Dragon Covenant, a unique and profound bond that transcends the conventional allegiances of Lordran. This covenant, unlike others focused on deities or factions, offers a path to self-transformation, a chance to transcend one's mortal form and become a dragon. This is not a mere symbolic gesture, it is a literal, albeit partial, metamorphosis. Joining the covenant grants the chosen undead, the Dragonhead Stone, and the Dragon Torso Stone. These enigmatic artifacts, when used, allow for a temporary, partial transformation, causing the chosen undead's head to become that of a dragon, or their torso to sprout scales and claws. While not a full transformation into an everlasting dragon, it is a significant step, a glimpse into the power and form of these ancient beings. It represents a rejection of the cycles of humanity and an embrace of a more primordial, enduring existence. The very existence of the path of the Dragon Covenant and the stone dragon's willingness to offer it speaks volumes about the lingering possibilities of the world. It suggests that despite the triumph of the gods and the advent of the Age of Fire, the path back to the Age of Ancients is not entirely closed. It is a testament to the enduring power and influence of the primordial world, a world that refuses to be completely erased. The Covenant offers a way to shed the dark sign, to escape the curse of undeath, and to embrace a form that existed before the very concept of curses or gods. It is a radical departure from the established order, a direct challenge to the cycles that govern Lordran. The choice to join this covenant is a profound one, representing a fundamental shift in the chosen undead's identity and purpose, a turning away from the path of humanity and toward a more ancient, enduring form of existence. Ashlake itself is a timeless environment, a place seemingly untouched by the passage of eons and the tumultuous cycles of fire and dark that define the rest of Lordran. The air is still, the light unchanging, the landscape an eternal tableau of grey skies, mist, and colossal archtrees. It is a pocket of the primordial world, preserved in its original state, unaffected by the waxing and waning of the first flame or the encroaching age of dark. This timelessness is its defining characteristic, a stark contrast to the decaying, cyclical nature of the world above. Here, time seems to hold no sway, and the very concept of change feels alien. It is a sanctuary, a living museum of the world's original form, a place where the ancient laws of existence still hold true. The lake's name, Ash Lake, also carries a profound, albeit tragic, significance. It is not merely a descriptive label, it hints at its deeper nature. The ash in its name is not the ash of a recent fire, but the metaphorical ash of the burned archtrees, the countless colossal growths that were destroyed during the war between the gods and the dragons. While some archtrees survived, forming the Great Hollow and the remaining structures of Ash Lake, countless others perished in the gods' relentless assault. The lake, therefore, represents the enduring legacy of that ancient conflict, a silent memorial to the immense destruction wrought upon the primordial world, even as it preserves a fragment of that world's original glory. It is a place of both profound peace and immense historical weight, a testament to what was and what could still be. Near the dragon, a lone bonfire burns, its flames a stark contrast to the surrounding ancient stillness. This bonfire, unlike those found throughout Lordran, whose embers flicker and wane as the first flame itself diminishes, seems to burn with an unwavering intensity. Its presence here, in a place untouched by the gods' war and the subsequent age of fire, is profoundly significant. It suggests that fire, in some form, existed even in the primordial age of ancients, long before Gwyn's discovery of the first flame. Perhaps this bonfire represents a more fundamental, elemental fire, one not tied to the cycle of kindling and fading that afflicts the world above. Its enduring glow, undisturbed by the encroaching darkness of the Age of Fire's decline, hints at a deeper truth, that the concept of fire, as a primal force of creation and destruction, predates even the gods' reign. It is a quiet yet powerful refutation of the established cosmology, implying a different origin for this fundamental element than the one propagated by the lords. The chosen undead may also uncover a more subtle, yet equally profound secret within Ash Lake, the hidden tomb of the nameless blacksmith deity. This deity, whose existence is only ever hinted at through the giant blacksmith in Anor Londo, is said to be the progenitor of all blacksmiths, a master craftsman of immense power whose skills far surpassed even those of the gods themselves. The giant blacksmith, a colossal figure residing in Anor Londo, the city of the gods, speaks of his father with reverence, suggesting a lineage that predates the current pantheon. His presence in Anor Londo, forging divine weapons for Gwyn and his knights, indicates that even the gods recognized and sought to harness the power of these ancient, primordial artisans. The notion that such a powerful foundational figure lies entombed within Ash Lake further solidifies the area's status as a repository of forgotten truths. It suggests that the gods, in their quest for dominance, not only warred against the dragons, but also sought to control or even absorb the ancient powers that predated them. The nameless blacksmith deity's tomb, if discovered, would be a testament to a forgotten era of unparalleled craftsmanship, a time when weapons were not merely tools of war, but extensions of a deeper elemental magic. This connection to the giant blacksmith also subtly links Ash Lake to the very heart of the gods' power, suggesting that their reign, while seemingly absolute, was built upon foundations far older and more complex than they let on. The giant blacksmith's continued presence in Anor Londo, despite the fading of the god's power, underscores the enduring nature of his craft and his connection to these ancient roots. His mournful demeanor and his dedication to forging ever stronger weapons for a fading age hint at a deeper understanding of the world's cycles, perhaps inherited from his primordial father. Ash Lake's very existence fundamentally contradicts Gwyn's carefully constructed narrative of total dragon extinction. The presence of the stone dragon, a living, breathing, albeit passive, remnant of the ancient world, shatters the illusion of the gods' complete victory. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his allies waged a brutal war against the everlasting dragons, culminating in their near-total eradication. This victory was the bedrock upon which the Age of Fire was built, legitimizing the gods' rule and cementing their place as the dominant power. Yet, here, beneath the very roots of the world, a dragon endures, a silent testament to the gods' incomplete triumph. This anomaly reveals a crucial flaw in their narrative, exposing their claims as propaganda designed to maintain control and suppress dissent. The continued existence of the stone dragon, even in its petrified state, is a powerful symbol of resistance, a quiet defiance of the gods' dominion. It suggests that even the most overwhelming victories can leave behind remnants, seeds of truth that eventually sprout to challenge the established order. The gods, in their arrogance, may have believed they had purged the world of all draconic influence, but Ash Lake proves them wrong, demonstrating the enduring nature of the primordial world. The area's isolation, its hidden location beneath the Great Hollow, implies that the gods either could not, or chose not to, destroy it entirely. The sheer scale and depth of Ash Lake, hidden far beneath the surface world, might have made a full-scale assault impractical or impossible. The gods, despite their immense power, were not omnipotent. Their war against the dragons was costly, and their resources were not limitless. Perhaps they simply lacked the means to reach and eradicate this deep-seated pocket of ancient life. Alternatively, they may have deliberately chosen to leave Ash Lake untouched, perhaps seeing it as a harmless, isolated relic, or even as a potential source of ancient power they could one day exploit. The stone dragon, in its passive, unmoving state, posed no immediate threat, and the effort required to reach and destroy it might have been deemed too great for too little gain. This deliberate omission, or perhaps inability, to fully cleanse the world of its ancient past further highlights the limitations of the gods' power and the enduring resilience of the primordial world. It suggests a certain pragmatism on the gods' part, a recognition that some battles are not worth fighting, or perhaps a fear of disturbing forces they did not fully comprehend. As the chosen undead traverses Ash Lake, a profound realization may dawn: the futility of the Age of Fire. The constant struggle to rekindle the first flame, to prolong an age that is inherently destined to fade, begins to seem pointless in the face of Ash Lake's timeless stillness. Here, beneath the world, time itself seems to slow, almost to a halt. The ancient trees stand unwavering, the stone dragon rests eternally, and the lone bonfire burns with a quiet, unyielding light. This profound sense of permanence, of an existence untroubled by the cycles of growth and decay that plague the surface world, presents a compelling alternative to the endless struggle of the Age of Fire. The chosen undead, burdened by the task of linking the flame and prolonging an age of suffering, might begin to question the very premise of their quest. Is it truly noble to cling to a dying age, Or is there a greater wisdom in embracing the natural progression of cycles, even if it means the end of the Age of Fire and the dawn of a new, unknown era? The stillness of Ash Lake, its quiet resilience, offers a powerful counter-narrative to the gods' desperate struggle to maintain their dominion. It suggests that true peace, true permanence, might lie not in fighting against the inevitable, but in accepting the natural flow of existence. The stone dragon's immortality, despite its lack of scales, challenges the notion that vulnerability was the dragon's only weakness. Gwyn's victory was largely attributed to the betrayal of Seath the Scaleless, who revealed the dragon's vulnerability to lightning and the secret of their scales, which granted them immortality. Yet the stone dragon, though lacking scales, endures. This paradox forces a re-evaluation of the dragon's true nature and the source of their immortality. Perhaps the scales were merely one manifestation of their ancient power, and other, more fundamental aspects of their being granted them their longevity. The stone dragon's petrified state might be a form of enduring existence, a different kind of immortality, one that transcends the physical vulnerability of its kin. It suggests that the dragon's power was far more complex and multifaceted than the gods understood, or at least than they let on. The stone dragon's continued existence, even in this immobile stone-like form, hints at a deeper, more inherent immortality that was not entirely dependent on its scales. This challenges the very foundation of Gwyn's victory, suggesting that the gods' triumph was not as absolute or as complete as they claimed. It implies that the dragons possessed a form of resilience that went beyond mere physical attributes, a connection to the very fabric of the ancient world that allowed them to endure even in defeat. Leaving Ash Lake, the chosen undead carries with them a profound revelation. The world's true history is far more complex and nuanced than the gods' carefully constructed tales. The journey through the Great Hollow and into Ash Lake is a journey not just through space, but through time, a descent into the forgotten origins of the world. The ancient trees, the mushroom children, the giant clams, the dragon greatsword, the lone bonfire, and most significantly, the stone dragon itself, all serve as silent witnesses to an age long before the gods. These discoveries dismantle the gods' propaganda, exposing their narrative as a partial, self-serving account, designed to legitimize their rule and demonize their enemies. The chosen undead, having witnessed the enduring power of the primordial world, can no longer view the Age of Fire as the sole, or even the most significant, chapter in the world's history. They understand that the world is built upon layers of forgotten ages, each with its own truths and its own mysteries. This revelation fundamentally alters the chosen undead's understanding of their own purpose and the true nature of their quest. The choice to link the flame or to let it fade is no longer a simple matter of good versus evil, but a complex decision fraught with the weight of ancient history and the potential for new, unforeseen futures. The journey out of Ash Lake is a journey of enlightenment, a return to the surface world with a broadened perspective, armed with knowledge that challenges the very foundations of the gods' dominion. The stillness and permanence of Ash Lake offer a stark contrast to the fleeting, cyclical nature of the Age of Fire, leaving the chosen undead with a profound sense of the world's true, ancient majesty. From the primordial silence of the Age of Ancients, through the cataclysmic birth of fire and the rise and fall of gods, to the solitary journey of the chosen undead into the very heart of creation, Ash Lake has remained a silent testament to the cyclical nature of existence. Its enduring presence, a constant beneath the ever-shifting tides of light and dark, underscores the profound and often tragic narrative that defines this world. And that is the complete Ash Lake and the Age of Ancients lore, Dark Souls timeline.